You're listening to the ReachCast show, your weekly stop for the latest and greatest in the PlanetSide 2 universe and its community.
What's up, guys? It's May 19th, and you were listening to episode 86 of the ReachCast show. Our members of the AGN and Podcast Networks. I am Torkz. With me tonight, I have the Deringer.
Hello, everybody.
We have special guest host Robo, which is apparently tweeting me directly. How are you doing, sir?
Doing well, doing well.
And we have Nox's official replacement, none other than PlanetSide 2 creative director Matt Higby.
Great to be here. It's an honor to be selected as the third full-time podcaster here on the ReachCast. I'm very happy.
It's a great honor, and we are honored by your presence.
It's really a coup for us to get you to replace that sack of shit Nox.
Oh, damn.
You know, I need to work on my one-liners a little bit, but I think that I'm going to be a solid contributor here.
I think you're right. Yeah. So tonight, guys, we're going to have a bit different format. We have Matt with us, so we're going to be doing a lot of community questions we got in during the week, during the day, really. You guys knocked in calls, emails, etc. Sorry if we cut down your emails. Some of your guys' emails had like a dozen questions in them. We're not going to ask a dozen questions back to back from one email. It's ridiculous. But thanks for your emails, your call-ins. Some of them are very entertaining. I hope Matt enjoys them as well. With that being said, we are going to kick off Dev Interrogation.
Listen, you are going to tell us everything we want to know.
Okay.
Now you are involved in the ReachCast interrogations.
All right. See, at least you enjoy them. T-Ray just busts our balls about him every time we play one of those with him, so it's good. It's good.
I think it's funny, dude.
So
I like the. All right. Anyway.
No. Let's hear it.
No. I like your reaction to it. You're like, all right.
I've heard it so many times. There's always a different reaction. There's always like, I feel kind of uncomfortable now. To okay, and so there's somewhere in between.
It's great. One of the things I love about you guys' show is you have so much production value and all the stuff you guys do. I think it's great.
Thank you. Let's hear about Matthew Higby. You know, there's some. I know that you guys you talk a lot about PlanetSide 2. Obviously, you're big into PlanetSide 2. There's a reason we're bringing you on the show. But
apparently, he's the creative director of PlanetSide 2.
Is he really? Okay, so apparently, there's a reason we have you on the show. But let's hear about your hobbies. Like, I know you have a dog, you have a wife. You have like, what's your favorite drink? It's crazy shit like that. Like, let's hear a little bit more about like who Matthew Higby himself is.
All right, man. Shoot, we can have a first date. Let's do it.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're going to go out to
time, I'm rusty.
Yeah, if you're going to go out for a dinner, like a great dinner, what kind of food are you going to go out for?
Great question. Totally depend on mood. I like Indian food a whole lot.
It's not a great question. It's the worst question.
It's got to start with something. Come on.
No, it's a great question. I'm a food maniac, so that's a great one. I can go on. I could probably take up the whole rest of the show talking about.
So food. Indian food, huh? That's your bag. Most of the time?
Say probably spicy food. That's kind of my thing. I'm a big spicy food fan. So those of you guys coming to SOE Live, feel free to challenge me with various.
Oh god!
Let's you eat this, Matt. Challenge.
Who was the dude that was eating the hot dog challenges? That was eating all the spicy food and shit. What was his name? That was the Nathan's hot dog eating champion for a couple years in a row. He was an Asian guy.
Kobayashi.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have a hot dog eating contest. I don't have the volume, but I can do very high. What was it? Capsaicin?
Capsaicin.
Yeah. Give me that shit. I love it.
All right.
I'll do a whole rail of it.
Robo, it's your first date with Matthew Higby. What are you going to ask Matt at the table while you're eating dinner at the Indian food restaurant?
That'd be hard. So like, I don't know if I could date Matt Higby. He's insane.
Pass the tandoori chicken.
Yeah. So spicy food, but if you had to pick one. So yeah, where would we be? Where would we be eating, Matt?
What kind of food would we be eating?
Yeah.
I don't know. Thai food maybe. Szechuan. I like Szechuan food quite a bit.
Would you pick me up flowers on the way to pick me up?
Would I pick up flowers to pick you up?
Yeah.
I would pick up flowers if I was picking Deringer up.
Okay.
That's what I like to hear. I really like red roses.
Okay, so now that you're at dinner with flowers, Mark, what are you asking him? Like,
I'm ordering the lobster, damn it.
This dude's rich, brought flowers.
All right.
God,
So
the chat room's already telling us to talk PlanetSide 2.
we'll get to it. Fuck's sake! Like, relax for like half a second. Like, we're talking to Matt, and then we'll get to the questions. Like, I know that everybody and their brother is sending questions, but that's the whole point. Like, the other 50 minutes of the show be questions. That's fine.
I don't think we should have any real questions until we get like 75 people in the channel. Once we got 75, we can start talking about real shit.
Fair enough.
So start telling your friends. Yeah. So Adrian wants to know what you're wearing. So I assume you're wearing a chicken shirt right now, right?
I'm not wearing a chicken shirt. I am not wearing a chicken shirt. Sorry.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
This show's over.
All right.
No, I'm just wearing a plain white shirt. Nothing special today. It's a Monday shirt.
It's a start for the week. It's got to be bland. It's got to be vanilla. It's
I gotta
good.
work my way up.
Robo, you have our first question for the night as our guest host. Let's start it off so that our chat room stops revolting, acting like assholes.
Don't want a French Revolution situation. Okay, so first question. Last month, SOE introduced the really awesome claim mechanic for station cache, so I can log in and click the claim button and get my station cache, which is really awesome. Can I do that for certs? Is it possible to do that for certs for all my characters, or do I still have to like log into each of my characters? It seems like there should be a way.
I mean, it's not like a technical reason. The real reason we have you log in every day is just because we really like daily logins.
Oh, right, but like if I was gonna,
that's really what it is.
Right. Well, I mean, I
the
log
reason
into
we
my
have those
character and then play for 5 hours, but the rest of my characters click claim.
Oh, you want to just be able to claim them for all of your characters by only logging into one character?
Right.
That's something that we've kind of talked about doing as part of an overall revamp to our character selection screen. We want to put some more functionality on that screen. Most people know what character they want to log into when they log into the game. They have one primary, but some people are going to make a choice once they get to their character select screen of, do I want to play this dude or this dude, depending on, what the population of the server looks like or if their friends are online. So we wanted to put some more info like that on the character select screen. And then the thought of being able to do things like claim your offline certs while you're on the character select screen for each one of your characters was kind of kicked around too. That's just conceptual. It's not something that we're committing to doing though, but it is something we've talked about.
All right, knock out your second question. We got to call it to it.
Okay. Second question. New capture mechanics, new gameplay mechanics possibly coming down the pipe. Anything you can tell us about?
Capture mechanics, not really. We've spent some time thinking about what kind of different capture mechanics we want to put in the game, because we do want to have some more variety to the kind of overall objectives that players are going for. It's kind of boring after playing through the tech plant over and over again, the same kind of capture routine. So we did want to have some slightly different capture mechanics. You could see with the amp stations, we recently kind of iterated some different, not necessarily capture mechanics, but, different approaches to the way that the base was captured and what happens when you capture the base. And we're pretty happy with the iteration that we did on that, but I don't think that we found like a superior base capture flow necessarily, but more of just like a different base capture flow. So I think it would be cool when we have time to go back through and do that same kind of thing with biolabs and tech plants and create a little bit of a more varied tapestry for the way that you capture those facilities instead of it all being the same thing.
Varied tapestry. Such a beautiful term.
Sorry.
No, that's great. I like that.
But, in terms of like, a lot of people will ask, well, what about doing LLU? What about doing capture the flag type mechanics? We don't really have any solid plans for those type of mechanics right now beyond thinking that they're really cool and that we want to do them at some point. I feel like I have to be a lot more cagey about the way that I kind of express our excitement about those things sometimes, because people, they said they were going to do this at one point, and it's like, no, we said we thought it was a cool idea and we liked it. It's kind of
1,000 ideas like that every week. There's got to be a million things like, that'd be a great idea to do if we had the dev hours to do it. It's a totally different story. But
your stock response just needs to be, it's all in PlanetSide 1. We just made that free to play. Knock yourself out.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing the number of things every day that we're just sort of like, oh yeah, no, that would be really cool. Like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. We should do that too. Things are very rarely not getting done for lack of ideas or for lack of even knowing what a really good solution to a problem is. It's purely a matter of how do we get the resources we need to be able to solve the problems that we need to solve. And then a lot of times we have to make choices that suck, like something that we really like and something that we think is really like a sexy new feature for the game takes a back seat to a crash bug. And it blows when a coder has to spend 3 weeks of time tracking down some fucking shitty crash bug when that time could have been spent, you know, making a resource revamp or something like that. But if the game is crashing for lots of people, then, you know, we don't have much of a choice about that. We kind of got to do it better.
Issues versus new enhancements. I mean, it's always most companies, right? You only have a certain amount of resources. You can only knock it out so much.
That's right. Yeah. And I mean, it shifts quite a bit when you're going from being a game in development to a live game with live customers, right? And that happened for us about 18 months ago. And it has probably cut down our overall productivity by, I don't know, 200%.
Yeah.
300%.
Prod issues always take precedent, and there's always prod issues. So it's always
exactly right.
pain in the ass.
So, and then, I mean, anybody who knows about like development or works with any kinds of engineers knows that when you're in the middle of working on some long-term project and you have to get pulled off of it to do, you know, this other thing, you have to sync an entirely different branch. You got to, you know, do all this work in a completely different area now to be able to fix a bug that's on a live server that needs to be fixed ASAP. So yeah, I mean, those kind of things definitely hurt a lot. And when we're looking through a big list of these are genius ideas, none of these things can we live without. It's a bummer when you are unable to accomplish those things because you're dealing with live issues or you're dealing with, you know, other customer affecting issues that aren't sexy, but definitely take precedence.
Yeah. You got anything, Mark, before we knock out Alpha Skull?
No, let's go.
So we got tons of shit. So here we go.
I'm going to give a 20-minute answer to every question.
What's up? Sorry, what's up?
Sorry, man. I said I was going to give a 20-minute answer to each question.
No, I was going to say we're like 10, 11. I'm like, damn, we only started the first question. It's going to be a while. All right. Sorry.
Well, we got to know all about Matt, and we've got to figure out what he's going to bring me when we go on a date. So, you know.
It's good. He's going to bring you flowers, and he's going to pick you up in a Porsche.
I'm sure my wife is listening right now, and she's like, who is this Higby guy?
All right. First call.
Hey, what's up, ReachCast Show and Matt Higby? I have a quick question for you guys. Is in-game outfit recruiting still happening for May? And exactly what does the outfit rating refer to exactly? All right, thank you guys from Demand 22, Alpha Leader, Quantadon, and Warson. All right,
bye. I don't know if it'll happen in May. Right now, it's waiting on UI. All the back end is finished for it, and it's waiting on the UI implementation. The UI implementation right now has a couple weeks left in it. I don't know if it's going to squeeze in this month or if it's going to have to get pushed. But most of the core development for the feature is finished. And the second question was, what does the outfit rating mean?
Yes.
We wanted to have the outfit rating be kind of a combination of a couple different things, like percentage of players that are active at any given time. You know, the number of even things like potentially giving you a higher rating if you have open platoons. Things like that, to try to encourage people to join an active outfit with a high percentage of active players in it.
Nice. Do they now, as far as taking those ratios into account, are we going to take outfit size into account as well? Where if it's a large outfit, it's always going to take precedence over smaller ones, or you're going to toss those averages up?
No, I think what we're doing right now is we're looking at the top X players in the outfit to try to determine what the skill rating is for the outfit, and then we kind of tail the rest of it. But it's based on activity and like it's based on most active players essentially. So that's usually the top players in terms of score too.
Gotcha. Okay. Next one we got is from Ak. He says, I have brought this up before, but I didn't get an answer. Could the mission system be altered to fix population imbalance in the game? If not, what's or let's start with that. Could the mission system be altered in a way to fix population imbalance in the game?
I think he's really pointing towards issues where one faction owns half the map and the other two tend to be fighting each other during an alert or something like that. He wants to know if there's a way to force the mission system to take the other two factions and force them to fight the faction that owns half the map.
So the mission system is interesting. We implemented basically the absolute bare minimum of the mission system so far. It's just a waypoint system, right? And whole idea behind getting that part of the mission system online now was to help really, really new players who don't know how to play the game at all. And we knew that it wasn't going to be a system that was really going to help out most of our advanced players until we got some other phases of the mission system in. I've talked about this a bunch of times, so this is probably like recapping for most of you guys, but just in case, like our second phase for the mission system was to give squad leaders more inputs into it to be able to set specific objectives for their squad. The third phase was making more global missions where as a platoon leader or a squad leader or an outfit leader, you can do things like say, I need an airstrike at this location, and it would create, similar to the way that the reinforcement needed and attack here type icons create a icon on the map that players can see. We would create a filtered list of available missions that have been called for by commanders, and then players would be able to say, hey, look at that, an airstrike is necessary over here. I should fly over there and start blowing some shit up. Beyond that, we had the idea of doing more server-initiated missions. And the whole thought behind that was to be able to do things like instigate a fight on a continent that's not being utilized right now. If we have a whole bunch of population on one continent, or maybe a few high-populated battles on one continent, being able to spread that population around a little bit more. The challenge with doing that kind of stuff is our toolbox for that is really the ability to provide convenience for being able to get to a location and XP bonuses. At least right now with the mission system, those are sort of like the things that we can do. We can give you a spawn point right there, or we can give you some bonus XP for going to the place that we think you ought to go to. And that's good motivation for a lot of people. But for people who are just interested in a certain type of fight, or they're at a really good fight with a really great farm, there's very little that you're going to be able to do to convince them to jump over to some fight that's going to be shitty, even if the mission system's putting it right in front of their face. So that's kind of one of the challenges, I think, with any of these game systems that we're trying to do to organize players or sort of have the game help organize players is most of the smart players, if they don't have their own inputs, not most of the smart players, but most of the very experienced players who really know how to play the game, if they don't have their own inputs to be able to use, then the system's never going to really work for them. And players already have the inputs to be able to go find another fight or open up a new front and all that kind of stuff if they want to. And lots of players do. But it's only the really organized ones who do that.
Boom.
I don't know if that answered anything, but...
No, answered just fine. Now, the short version of the email. Server transfer tokens, ?
Server transfer tokens.
Because he plays on Watterson, that's why.
Yeah, he wants to get off Watterson, basically.
He wants to either see a server transfer token so he can move around, or perhaps merge Watterson Matherson.
Merging Watterson and Matherson's been something we've talked about quite a bit over the months, and it's never been quite right timing to do it. They still get enough population that both of those combined would be a pretty...
You wouldn't be able to go anywhere. I mean, I play on Matherson a lot, and during alerts, the main continent is almost always locked. So,
right, yeah. I mean, the thing that's frustrating is it's like when the population's low, it is very low, and then when the population's high, it suddenly gets very concentrated. You know, what we want to do is figure out ways to make our population remain concentrated when it's off-peak hours, and we have some thoughts about that. Obviously, things like continent locking help out a lot with that. So,
all right, Mark,
what was I totally ditched the question. the server transfer question.
No, I mean, he was just asking about server transfer tokens. What's the deal long term with those, or when are they going to be implemented? But I think
we're still planning on doing them. We have them in a list with other convenience items like name change and KDR reset and some other things like that are just like purchasable gameplay switches. But it's just like I was talking about a few minutes ago. It's always a matter of, do we want to have somebody spend 2 weeks of time making the server transfer token and the UI associated with it and all those other kinds of things that you need? Because it's not as simple as just creating a new item in the game. It's a bunch of new functionality.
Mm-hmm.
Or would that, 2 weeks potentially of engineer time be better spent making, I don't know, the directive system or the second phase of the mission system?
Prioritization's got to be a bitch for you guys. I can't even imagine seeing your prioritization list and be like, oh, this is the best, and this is the best, and this is the best, and no matter what you choose, you're going to get shit on. So
it's definitely the hardest part of our job, I think.
The way I see it, though, I think back to WoW, and server transfer and character transfer tokens are a huge moneymaker for them. That's why they've never gone they've never offered them for free to people except for moving from, high pop to low pop and stuff like that. So personally, and not having any knowledge whatsoever what your business model is, I'm still surprised that we don't already have server transfer tokens and name change tokens in game. Name change tokens specifically. That seems like something you could charge $25 for, and a ton of people would drop money quickly to do it.
I agree. I think you're completely right. So that's a really good example of how difficult the prioritization is when you have something everybody agrees would make a ton of money and is relatively simple to do and straightforward and people want. But it's still difficult for us to prioritize that higher than the other things that we're working on.
But your DBAs are like shared across multiple games, right? It's not just like your DBAs are dedicated to X game and you can have your DBAs write up some sort of script you can transfer to from X server to X server with some sort of automated SQL script. But it's like your resources are shared across multiple games, right? It's not.
They are, but I mean, the DBA portion of it's not really the hard part. And the DBA portion of it's definitely not the part that I'm worried about. We have a platform group that does all of our back-end platform stuff. And we just send them tasks and they do them. And they're good about getting them done. It's more the in-game part of it. And we would have to dedicate game engineers to building that stuff and game UI coders to building the UI for it too.
Gotcha.
So it's very, 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 very difficult to prioritize features. Because we have to please a lot of masters, I guess, So a lot of times you're looking at something like that. Hell yeah, I would love to have server transfers and name change tokens. Those have been on our list of things to do since pre-launch.
I'll be honest. I plead ignorance in certain ways. Like I only understand certain formats of what I work in, right? But it doesn't make sense to me. I don't necessarily know how SOE works stuff. So, but it makes sense that you're having a lot of that's UI design. Sounds like, right? So there's a lot of
the design part's not even the hard part. It's just the implementation. UI is one of the things that UI and level design are kind of two of our eternal bottlenecks. We never have enough horsepower to be able to do all the things that we want to do in those areas.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, the real thing is you're holding Torkz back from changing his name to TORK.
Dude, it's not me, man. It's not me.
That's a pretty genius idea, actually. We could do name change tokens, and only if you get a name change token can you use exclamation points and @ signs, and signs. But if you use like the $20 name change token, you can be hashtag Torkz if you want to, or whatever.
Rename directly to the name of the gun. I'll be perfect. Be happy.
Yeah. All right, let's get on to a serious question here. This came from the person that you replaced. Knox actually wrote in a question this week, and he says,
"Oh God,"
and I quote, "Higby, I would like to know if you would join me in wearing a ReachCast Speedo. We will outshine T-Ray's efforts last year, and I think that would irritate him." And he's talking about it SOE Live.
Nope. But I will happily take a picture of the two of them wearing their ReachCast Speedos.
T-Ray would never wear it. He'll never get it in game. He'll never wear it. He'll hate it forever. I'm gonna get some stickers and stick it on his tits next to my Steam.
Dude, if you get me a ReachCast, like a big ReachCast sticker, I'll put it right on the hood of his car.
Oh yes, yes. He walks out, he'll be like, "What the fuck?" He'll be so angry, he'll flip out.
I'll tell you, I have been
emblem on his steering wheel.
I have been working on some ReachCast stickers for SOE Live, so I mean, this could be a reality.
Oh,
all right.
Stick it on, like it'll be all over his car. He'll flip his car in anger.
I'll do it. He'll never know it was me either. It'll be the perfect crime.
He'll probably blame Knox.
I saw you over here, Knox. It was you.
All right, we have another call, right?
Yeah, we got another call. Link Store.
Hey, ReachCast. This is Link Store from the 40 Deuce, co-leader. I'm calling in to ask a couple questions of Matt Higby. Thanks for a great game, Matt, and all your team working hard on it.
This is where you say you're like your thank you time or whatever. Keep playing. All right, cool.
Look forward to all the cool stuff coming up. First question is, what happened to the snowmobile variants that were showed off last year at SOE Live?
Okay. Snowmobile variants for SOE Live.
I don't know. I don't think we ever got the functionality to make the vehicles change models based on what continent they were on. That was what we wanted to do, so we can make it so that the Snowcat Sunder and the Snowcat Flash just automatically were Snowcats on Esamir. There's also some concern about it looking stupid if they were going over the mountains using those.
Yeah.
Was I drunk when they talked about this? Because
I don't remember this at all. Like I totally was blacked out for that.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty blacked out for it too, to be honest. But I don't think we talked about it very much. It was more like we just had some screenshots of the damn things in the presentation.
Oh, okay. See, obviously that Mark and I drank way too much, so I don't remember that.
But I didn't. I mean, I drank in your room, Higby, but are you going to do that again at SOE Live? Because, I mean, that's on everybody's mind.
I don't know. I hope so.
Everybody gets invited to your room, and it's just a big party.
Todd walks back.
Yeah.
Todd walks back from your room with a bottle of hot damn, and he was fucking blitzed when he got to the pool party. It was ridiculous. I was like, hot damn, really? Like, are you in high school? This is ridiculous.
I thought that was a good party.
It was. It was enjoyable.
Bathtub full of booze.
For a moment, there was jammed, but other than that, it was good.
It was. All right, so we got Link's Thor. We have a little more of his calls to go.
I believe. Just curious, and then also along with the vehicle questions, looking forward to the Valkyrie, and I know you're working hard on that. Are there any other plans for Empire-specific vehicles on the pipeline? The other question I have, with Hassan coming up...
Okay, whoa. Empire-specific... This guy's... Thank you, Link's Thor. I know you have a lot of questions, but the Empire-specific vehicles...
Empire-specific vehicles, the next set of those that you'll see is going to be the buggies.
Okay.
We're talking Thresher?
Thresher,
Yes. I have 8,000 certs saved up just for the Thresher.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, we've got the models for those set up. I'm looking forward to adding them. I think that the Empire-specific stuff is generally a lot more fun than the Nanite system stuff, personally, but it's a lot more work. It's a hell of a lot more work. As is obvious, anytime we release new Empire-specific weapons with new mechanics, they cause a whole lot of problems. If you look at, like, ESFs, the difference between them is pretty minimal, just because with those type of vehicles, trying to create Empire differentiation was just super challenging. And tanks are a continued spot of players complaining about the asymmetrical balance, too. So those kind of things are slow for us to implement, for sure, and we're a little bit gun-shy at them at this point, too.
Yeah.
Everybody wants everything now, but no one will tolerate if things go in and they're not perfect. You know what I mean?
Damn straight.
Absolutely.
But the Valkyrie, in terms of good news that I can share, the Valkyrie's kicking ass. I saw one of the animators today had the characters modeled had the characters rigged now on the side of it, and they're looking cool. The vehicle itself is starting to feel pretty good as we're doing internal tests with it. Really, really looking forward to getting that on PTS and starting to get feedback from players about it. I think that kind of vehicle, as much as the Harasser changed what the ground vehicle gameplay was like, I think this thing will change the same thing not for air gameplay necessarily, but for the way that players do close air support.
Yeah, we were speculating a couple weeks ago on how it's going to work for team drops. When people use the Valkyrie, so. I'm interested to see it on PTS and see how people use it, because players always kind of jack with it a little bit from what your intended purpose is.
Fuck you up, 40. We shall have started on the Valkyrie. I'll show you a video of it tomorrow. I'll fucking find it. I don't have Vine. What else can you use? YouTube? I'll YouTube it.
YouTube it.
There you go.
Done.
Op 40 just called out in the chat channel. Good job.
Last part of the call.
Shortly, hopefully. How are the battle islands coming along?
I'm killing the call after that question, but Battle Islands, how are they coming along?
We've done nothing on them since what you guys have seen for Nexus.
Gotcha.
Had the entire team after the only person who worked on the Battle Island. I don't know if anybody knows this, but Nexus was completely done by Xander.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he did that 100% himself, start to finish. Obviously, Devin helped out with a lot of the terrain art and stuff like that, but all the level design was done by Xander. And he and Brian and Corey and Malorn to some degree too are now working 100% on Hassan.
Yeah, I was talking to Malorn about Nexus, and he had done some alterations, I guess, to Nexus about some of the resource changes.
Yeah, I think he went through and he changed some of the resource stuff because the initial setup for it wasn't really correct. It wasn't set up correctly. But he didn't have anything to do with the actual level design of the content.
Gotcha.
He did the data.
Okay. I know there's a lot of teams that said that that Nexus is well balanced generally. So Xander must have done a hell of a job if you're going to get people that are in the competitive, whatever venue to say that they've done a pretty good job in balance, because usually it's hardest people to please. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think Xander, each of the level designers has their own kind of niche, what they're really good at. And Xander's really good at building well balanced, fun outposts. Basically.
Nice. All right. That being said, we're going to knock out community briefing, and this will give us a chance to take a break from these back-to-back questions.
Cool.
Attention, soldiers! Get your butts in here for this week's community briefing.
All right, since we have so much to cover, we're really only doing one thing on community briefing this week, and this is just covering last week's community question, and we're also going to throw out this week's community question. And you're all in luck because we got a call for this week's community question, so get ready for that. So last week, we asked, who in PlanetSide 2 would you like to TK in the game? Now, I'm sorry to say, Higby, but you were one of the number one responses.
No shit.
And
I get it all the time, so there's got to be a lot of happy people out there.
And I'm sure it's just because you just wreck people since you're just Auraxising every weapon in the game.
Yeah.
A couple a day. So
I don't know if it's quite that many. I wish it were.
But throwing out some other random names, two of my favorite people on Matherson, Stu360 and Wisdom Cube, were both mentioned.
Nice.
No one seems to really like them, and I made some disparaging comments about Stu360 last week, so I won't be doing that this week.
I like Stu360. I'll tell you this, and I'm not being ironic, Stu360 is my favorite forum poster.
Really?
Yep.
Hold on. Why?
Because he's passionate.
Passionate. Okay, I can buy that. Like that, I can wrap my head around that one. That's good.
No, I think Stu360 perfectly kind of personifies the overall.
Oh God, don't say it. On last week's show, I called him mildly retarded.
Well, that's not exactly what I mean. I'm not trying to refer anything like that. But I think that Stu is kind of he's got his finger on the pulse, man.
Oh God, you realize that you're just feeding him, and Matherson is just gonna. I don't even want to play on Matherson tomorrow because.
No.
I hope Stu makes it to SOE Live. I'm going to give him an award on stage.
Stu's going to stab the shit out of you, SOE Live, Mark. He's going to shiv you to death.
Bring it.
Prison.
I'm not worried.
Okay.
I'm not worried. Okay, so rounding out some additional ones, there were actually a number of people who thought that Pella needs to be TK'd. Anyone from DAP needs to be TK'd. And finally, my favorite player in the game, Yeslum, needs to be TK'd.
See, I don't know much about Yeslum, so.
Are you sure?
I don't know much about Yeslum.
No one knows who and I just throw Yeslum in there because that's actually my character.
Is it? Okay.
That's my Yes I Am That Deringer character on Matherson. So they all call me Yeslum in game instead of Yes I Am.
How Never mind.
Hey, I'm pompous. What are you going to say? So we do have a question for this week, and I believe we have a call related to it.
We do. I would like your answer about it this week as well, Higby, after we play it. So here we go.
All right.
Hey, Higby. This is Quattro from the Dasan Fallout Fit on the Matherson server. I just had a question for you. Using the existing game mechanics, let's say you're in a scat max in a gen room in a biolab, unlimited ammo. How many naked knife wielding T-rays? Naked, that was weird. How many T-rays wielding knives with his rippling abs and granite pecs and chiseled biceps? Sorry, that was a weird tangent. How many T-rays would I need to send before that scat max with unlimited ammo could be brought down? What do you think? Thanks a lot. Bye.
Great question.
I think it's a very valid question. I think it's going to be our committee question for the week. How many naked knife-wielding T-rays does it take to bring down the scat max with unlimited ammo?
I'll tell you what, man. One naked T-ray is going to get me out of that suit real quick.
not enough. All right. So if you're in the max suit, it'll get you out real quick. But it's let's say like Stu 360s in that max suit with like unlimited ammo.
The chat room is blowing up.
Is it going to take like 9,000? Okay, I see 9,000 as being the number thrown around. I don't know.
You have the chance to ask a dev anything.
I guess
that's what you ask. I love Quattro. I love Quattro.
So
now, you see, if that was Stu 360, that would have been a really solid mechanic-related question. Probably about the Orion.
I like how you
0.75 ADS on the gun being ridiculous or something.
I like how you segue that. If it was Stu 360, it'd be a ADS question for X assault rifle on the versus a Scat Max. All right, so that's the community question for the week. How many naked T-rays, knife wielding T-rays does it take to take down a unlimited ammo Scat Max? So enjoy that on Reddit. I'm sure that's gonna be interesting feedback.
Watch for that later this weekend.
Okay, we're on to the next quickfire questions.
Guys, patch notes just got released for tomorrow's patch, by the way. I don't know if you want to.
We should.
Who cares, right?
No, we'll knock that out. Let me look it up real quick and we'll pull it up and we'll talk about it.
Let's make Robo do the whole thing.
The next question segment. First off, max flamethrowers. Question from Major Action Jesus.
Max flamethrowers are so we have right now a list of weapon mechanics that we've basically prioritized and given to a team on the code team that are kind of in charge of building out mechanics for us. And flamethrowers are one of the things on there. We had the flamethrowers on test for a long time, and the feedback on them was, and this is over a year now, the feedback on them was crappy. They didn't feel like good flamethrowers. Making a flamethrower actually feel right, it turns out, is complicated when you have a system that basically just does projectiles. So when we looked at the functionality for it, we decided we wanted to actually spend some time making a real awesome flamethrower instead of just having it be like a pseudo projectile rifle with a fire particle effect on it. So still coming, still high priority in terms of the weapon mechanics that we want to do. And just as an example, like some other ideas that we have on there for weapon mechanics is like reverse cone of fire growth. So the longer you hold firing on a certain type of weapon, the cone of fire actually gets smaller. That's something we want to do for things like the MCG as an example, and other types of like mobile suppression type weapons. And then like, I don't know, like drunken missiles where you fire some missiles and they kind of, wobble around instead of just going in a straight line. Those are other things that we have on that weapon mechanics list, but flamethrowers are really high on there. And the actual functionality that you need for flamethrowers gives you a shitload of other cool stuff too. Players are constantly asking for things like the lasher to be able to lash. Well, the functionality for flamethrowers gives us the ability to make weapons like that.
Nice. All right, you got the next one, Deringer.
Sorry, I'm reading patch notes. I'm done.
All right, knock it out, man.
Next question is from Kyle, and he says, how do you see PlanetSide 2 / SOE evolving with the technology of the next 10 years as computing power increases and with the introductions of the virtual reality gaming systems that we're starting to see?
Your tone, and that was just...
It's just such an open-ended, wide
No, it's a question, though, because you have things like Oculus, right? And I know that...
Yeah, I'll answer it for you, Matt, so just sit back. Have you seen that video where the guy's got the glasses on and he's in the thing and he's running in place? That's coming to PlanetSide 2 December.
No. In terms of it, what kind of things the new 10 years?
Decade goals. Yeah, your decade goals. That's good.
Decade goals.
I was on a panel at PAX recently that was kind of talking about the same kind of stuff. It was talking about the future of PC gaming. And all of us, including Palmer, who was there, who's the guy who created the Oculus, all of us were basically like, who knows? Who really knows? Like, there's definitely some stuff in the next 10 years that we do know about, or at least in the next 3 to 4 years that we do know about. But beyond that, it's really hard to tell with technology. I don't know if we're going to be looking at holographic displays. Maybe we are. I saw Michael Jackson was a hologram the other day. Fuck, I want Michael Jackson on my desk.
Sure shit, yeah.
Michael Jackson's dead.
Well, he's a hologram.
It's a hologram still, though. I mean, the gamers are going to be the
In
most.
the future, no one dies.
Exactly.
Everybody just becomes holograms like Tasha Yar and fucking Michael Jackson.
It's like
I
Star
love the
Wars. That's
next
perfect.
generation reference thrown out there. Perfect.
The gamers are going to be the most fit motherfuckers on the planet in the coming century. I guarantee you. People will be running
No, they're going to be
miles
like
a day.
it's going to be like that episode of Sliders where they hop in and all the kids are trapped in their homes and their battle robots are fighting outside. That's what its future is going to be like.
Yeah, I see the future as being much more of a Ready Player One type scenario than all the kids are in like really good shape. I think they're gonna they're gonna figure out a way to client side hack the treadmill is what I'm saying.
It's gonna be like Wall-E.
Dude, Ready Player One is such a good book.
Great book.
Amazing book.
The thing is, if you look at players and what they do to avoid effort in games right now, like just doing some kind of client side cheat.
Oh yeah.
As soon as did you ever have one of those stupid running pads for the NES?
Yeah, for the NES, the initial NES. Yeah.
Yeah, I had the track and field game on it, but if you ran on the front pads, you would run faster than if you ran on the pads you were supposed to run on.
Yeah.
Every motherfucker with one of those treadmill VR things is going to have shit hacked so that they don't have to do anything and they run at full speed. You know
Touch their fingers and they're running at full speed, yeah.
It's the gamers we're talking about. They're going to figure out how to min-max it, No one's going to really want to have to run around. Not everybody's like Rel doing 10 push-ups every time they get killed. Most people don't want that shit.
So, Rel's a buff motherfucker, yeah. Apparently he like break dances in his spare time. He is apparently a breakdancing champion, right?
Yeah.
Right, Mark?
Yeah, he is.
He told us he's like a breakdancing fool. So that bandana is there for a reason. Rel's legit shit. Apparently.
I'm sure he rips that thing off and ties it on his leg.
He does. And you're like, never mind. All right. You got the next question.
No, you got the next question.
Oh, you got that. You really? Okay, fine.
It's Thomas's question.
Okay. Why is hit registration such a piece of shit right now?
Is it right now?
It's according to Thomas. It is.
I don't know, man. I've been playing quite a bit. I haven't been having any issues with hit registration.
I'll also say I don't think I've been having hit registration issues, but I will say that other people in my outfit have said, "Oh, hit registration sucks right now." But that could just because they're playing like shit on that particular night, and it's not actually hit registration issues. So
9 times out of 10, when we have hit registration issues, and this is going to sound like a cop out, 9 times out of 10, it ends up going back to the person's connection.
ISP maybe?
It has to do with the actual. So a lot of our hit detection, you guys know, is client side authoritative, right? You tell the server, "Hey, I shot this person," and the server goes and looks at it and says, "Okay, I buy that. He shot him." Like that's fair.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is if you have a bad internet connection or if you have some sort of like latency spike, you can get desynchronized, and people complain about the desynchronization issues quite a bit, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of times that's what ends up happening is you've gotten desynchronized from the server. And when you're shooting at that person, the server's saying, "No, you can't shoot that dude. He's not there." Or "You're not where you think you are." There's something in between you guys that, as far as you're concerned, isn't there. But the server doesn't think that person's there anymore. And again, a lot of times this just comes down to lag. So that can be either I'm in an incredibly busy part of the world where, there's the server's just trying to process too much shit. And everybody sees that in a super, super crowded fight. But more typically, it's when your internet connection is severely lagged because you're doing something or your route to the server is bad. That's when we start seeing those kind of issues happen the most. We have fixed some like systemic problems with hit registration, though. We had some issues before where we had some of our cheat detection. And again, this all comes back to cheat detection. The server is doing authentication to see if this person has a valid chance to be able to shoot this other person based on their positions, based on the type of weapon that they're using, that kind of thing. Before we had probably slightly too aggressively set a lot of the validation stuff that we had. And we've pulled back a lot of that validation because we were just catching false positives. We weren't catching any actual real cheats when we went and looked at the logs. So we've retuned a lot of those. And I think since we've retuned those, which has been probably about 4 weeks now, a lot of the hit registration issues have gone away. The noise about it has gone away.
I have a quick question before we go on to Robo's questions. Why has a lot of the cheat detection stuff not moved to client side?
A lot of it is. I can't talk too much about what we.
Well, I'm trying to.
Torkz is fishing because he's writing a new hack.
I'm not trying to fish. I know that there's how. Fuck it. Never mind. The
reachcat.exe.
Yeah.
Reachcat.exe.
So, Robo, what's your questions?
Easy question first. A lot of the vehicle shields don't really prevent vehicles from getting around them. Like, I can name a few where you can just drive around the vehicle shield. Are there any, especially on Indar, are there any plans to go back and patch the holes? Because there's almost no reason having a vehicle shield in some of these places.
Yes. So Indar, we're going through now. Last update. Was it last update, I think, that we touched one of the outposts on there? Which one did we get? I think we're doing...
Core Med. You guys got the Core Med last time.
That's right. We did Core Med last time. This time we're doing the abandoned NS offices. The new Core Med's actually pretty fun. Those are both Xander bases too. So Xander's actually going through and he's kind of hitting each of these as he has time and going through and like trying to fix the ones that are really annoying and egregious to him. And hopefully as that's happening, we're fixing a lot of those issues with either spawn rooms that are very easy to get open shots at from roads, hopefully adding more air cover, adding the secondary egress spawns out of the bases like we have on Amarish and Esamir, so you can actually get, the secondary spawn room to be able to escape from sometimes if yours is really camped. So all those things should be happening, and we're no longer going to just take Indar and say, okay, we're taking the next 6 months and redoing everything on Indar, just because we can't move forward and continually do that. So rather than doing that, we just have a prioritized list of bases that we think are shitty, like Core Meds and like abandoned NS offices, and we're hitting those as we can.
Awesome. Well, I mean, hey, you guys have done some awesome work on some of these outposts. I remember back when Quartz Ridge was a shack on a hill.
Yeah, Quartz Ridge was another one that was on Xander's shit list for a long time. He wanted to mess with that base for a really long time.
Awesome. Second question, and this is, and I wrote this question before I saw the patch notes, and now I'm glad I did. Patch notes say galaxies can be spawned at large outposts now, which is awesome because galaxies are really integral to some of the troop movement, unless it's reinforcements requested or request reinforcements or needs reinforcements. And a lot of the Matherson guys can attest to this from the last server smash. And we can move people around really fast in really big chunks without ever having to use a vehicle. And it seems kind of overpowered. And I know part of this goes back to, you guys have mentioned several times before, you don't really know what's going to happen until the outfits and the top tier players get a hold of some of the stuff that you guys make. And then you might have to sit down again and say, hey, that's not quite what we intended. Because as it is now, if you can spawn on your squad leader, and your squad leader has an option of either instant actioning or just spawning across the continent, you can get platoons across the map, across 20 hexes where they would normally have to take a galaxy, but they can just appear and completely wreck. So it's concerning to a few of us because it's breaking the gameplay. There's no way to draw a battle line if we can just teleport in. Are there any plans to address the spawning system as it is now?
Wow, dude. Well, we have a fucking can of worms now because we've been talking about this issue a whole lot. I was in the server smash. I played in that. That was pretty fun. Mathers represent. And
Team USA.
Exactly. We talked a bit about that today. There was a thread on Reddit talking about that. A lot of those issues are things that we know about when we looked at some of our like logistical gameplay, like the types of things that we wanted to have be like pure logistics. Like for instance, our offensive type spawns. We decided in a lot of cases that it was worth us pulling back on how restrictive we were going to be on that in order to open it up and make it a little bit more friendly to new players. That's what all those reinforcement requests are about. That's what some of those like simplified spawning is about. Everybody gets that. I don't think that there's a mystery about it.
Right.
The challenge is always just how do we make the most approachable, convenient, easy to get right into a really good fight experience without that being something that like the advanced players can just leverage and take advantage of. How do we make a tool that works really well for somebody who doesn't know how to play the game at all to get them into a really good fight and not have that be something that gets abused? And there's all sorts of different kind of proposed ways to solve that, from if you're in an outfit, you don't have access to use that thing, which is kind of convoluted and silly. Or you only get to do it if you're under battle rank 25, which is, again, convoluted and silly. One thing that we want to do is maintain people's ability to get into and enjoy fights in PlanetSide 2 quickly and easily. That's been one of our biggest goals for the overall project, for the game itself, since we were first conceptualizing what we wanted to do with it. We knew that if we were making a free-to-play game from the get-go, that it wasn't going to survive if we made it as complicated for you to try to get into fights and as inconvenient for you to get into fights as PlanetSide 1 was. So, yeah, I mean, it's a constant battle of, do we want the accessibility or do we want the logistics? And you know what's another thing that's kind of the same issue, same problem is resources. Resources present the exact same problem to us. It's tied to core moment-to-moment gameplay. Understanding resources is required for you to understand how moment-to-moment gameplay works in a lot of cases, vehicles and consumables. But it's also the thing that we're trying to tie to the overall strategic gameplay, which needs to be complex enough to allow for interplay and counterplay and all those kinds of things. So tying a very conceptually complex strategic system to the thing that you need to understand right away to be able to basically enjoy the game is a big problem. And that's kind of coming from trying to serve two very disparate groups of people. We have a big chunk of, I hate to say casual because they're not casual. I feel like I play the game this way. There are people who just want to jump in and have a really, really kick-ass FPS fight. And they're totally willing to go on a really long, session of, sticking around with all the vehicles and pushing from base to base and all that kind of stuff. But they don't want to have to spend a bunch of time screwing around before they get to a fight or having to learn how to read the minutia of the map to be able to figure out where the fight is. So that idea of accessibility versus strategic depth is something that we've been talking a hell of a lot about on the team, and talking about in terms of both resources and in terms of the spawning system, breaking those concepts apart so that from a strategic point of view, we're no longer tying enjoyment of the base moment to moment game to the overall strategic view. And that's a good thing, I think, for people who care about the strategic gameplay, because it'll allow us to make it a lot more complex and a lot more interesting, because we don't have to have it be something that everybody understands before they can start playing the game.
Right.
Again,
easy to learn, difficult to master. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And these are things that we're very, very early on in talking about, but these are big challenges that I mean, I can't say that we're early on in talking about them, because these have been things that we've been talking about since way before the game even launched. Some of these dichotomies of, we're trying to appeal to these people, but these people need this and these people need this, and we need both of them, and they're diametrically opposed in terms of what they want. These are things these are kind of challenges that we've had and we've been dealing with for a long time, and I feel like we've done a pretty good job of balancing them. And I think that you'll see in the extremes where they break apart. The extremes is like server smash of, here's an entire group of people that are really, really working hard to coordinate and use these tools. Okay. And the extremes, it breaks apart the other way too. Like a brand new player jumping right in, even if it's as simple and as lightweight and boring as our resource system is, it's still completely impenetrable to that new player. So we've kind of failed at both of the extremes to provide something that works well for both of those people. And that's something that we need to do better.
Oh, right. I mean, these are complex issues. I'm not saying, hey, Higby, why isn't all this stuff fixed yet? I mean, it's we definitely understand, and we're very happy that you guys are taking measures to look into this stuff. Definitely, without derailing the topic too much. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Are adding objectives like generators to tie into the spawn room, or really anything, and this isn't something I've put much thought into, or something that popped into my head. If you had a generator that you could blow up and delay spawning, or delay reinforcements needed, and I don't know if that'd be exploitable or not, but obviously, as you mentioned, players like having tactical opportunities, tactical options for doing things instead of having, the code tell us, no, you can't do that. And you mentioned that earlier. We like to really delve into the grand strategy and tactics. Is there a way to solve some of these problems by adding another objective for us to take, or another, I don't know, shield for us to blow up?
I don't know. Do you feel like those problems are any more or less interesting at the bases that have more objectives to them? Some bases have more objectives than others. I guess that's not exactly what you're asking.
Right, but like if you had a generator that you could blow up, or you could attack, or you could, or like an inhibitor or something that you could activate, and then reinforcements needed would disappear for a couple of minutes to force outfits to use galaxies, but then a strike team could come in and fix the generator, and then all of a sudden everyone could spawn in. I don't know.
Well, so there's a couple things that we've talked about with reinforcements, and like I said, this is fresh in my mind because we were just having some email discussions about this today. One of the issues with reinforcements is the timer, well, not the timer, the timing on it is not real time. So we show you a base that has 45% friendly population on it, and by the time you get there, it might have 75% friendly population on it. You know what I mean? Because the population can continue to increase before the thing gets cut off the list of this base needs reinforcements. So that's definitely one thing that we can do better, is we can make that a lot faster. Hey, Chia. My dog just came in here. What's up? Go away. What
breed's your dog?
Huh?
What breed is your dog?
She's a golden retriever.
Oh.
Way to just turn the conversation differently.
I don't give a shit. I'd rather hear about his dog. I want to know. I want to know what breed his dog is. Like that's good. I'm sorry, Robo.
Interrupted my train of thought. What was I talking about? Implants? Were we on implants or continent locking? I don't even remember.
No, Robo, go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. No, it was about the reinforcements needed stuff. But actually, if it's fresh in your head and you have some things you'd like to talk to us about, go for it. That's why we're here.
One of the things that we know would make that reinforcement system better is if we cut off the threshold earlier. Like the thing with Server Smash, if it had set it up so that you can go into reinforcement requested up until 47% friendly population, and then after that, that's it. And it gave the cutoff to that at more like real time. Reinforcements requested couldn't be exploited in the same way to throw an overwhelming majority of players on the base anymore, right? It could at most be used to even the pop. So that's something that we can do to make reinforcements requested better right now. Another thing that we can do is make it so that reinforcements requested takes into account offensive reinforcements. So you might have three reinforcement requests, but one of them might be an offensive reinforcement request. And maybe an offensive reinforcement request has different thresholds for when it activates and deactivates. So that would limit what bases you had the ability to quickly jump over to, so it wouldn't be quite as predictable how to use that to, exploit. I keep saying exploit. I don't really mean exploit, because I think that mechanic was used the way that it's supposed to be used. It's not really being exploited. It was just used extremely well by the Matherson guys in the Server Smash. So anyway, so yeah, I mean, that's a constant debate that we're having internally right now, especially when you think about things like PlayStation 4 is launching, and what does the audience on that need for mechanics? What sort of accessibility are those guys going to expect, and where does the line need to be drawn for them in terms of player-driven logistical strategy versus ease of access?
Something we're about to talk about. In fact, you made a good segue to it.
Cool.
So, you have anything else, Robo?
I read the patch notes for medics, and I don't know if this was ever considered. A lot of us had talked about the possibility of heat bars for the medic tool. I can res a lot of people really fast, and you play medic a lot, Higby. Do you feel that's something that's necessary or not really? The heat bar for the medic tool, like you guys have for the Engie tool?
I don't know anybody who uses that fucking thing to heal players, so.
Right, or revive.
Fair enough. Yeah,
because after a certain point, you just wait for them to die and then res them.
Right, exactly.
Awesome with the by the way, sorry, I had to jump in. Awesome with the triage buff. That's amazing. We've been wanting to use triage forever. I love triage. Now I'm going to max it.
I'll tell you one of the things that's a bummer that didn't get into this patch. We have it working internally, but it's a little bit buggy. Is one of the things that I really wanted having played medic so much recently is the ability to separate out right click and left click on the heal tool.
Yeah.
So click always revives a target in front of you and doesn't try to heal whatever's in front of you. Because that shit's crazy annoying. But it's not going to make this patch, unfortunately, because it was a little broken. It'll be in the next one.
Booyah. There you go. Okay, I was waiting for somebody to respond, but okay. Let's talk about let's talk about esports, but before we
play my bumper.
I will play your bumper as soon as I can find it. Hold on. Here we go.
Prepare yourselves! This is the PlanetSide 2 Community Clash.
Okay, we're not really talking about Community Clash, but the sword play still works. So, the competitive play in the future for PlanetSide 2, what does Matt Higby think that the future of competitive play for PlanetSide 2 looks like, and what would he like to see?
The number one thing, I don't know if I've told you guys this directly, but I know I've said it enough that you have definitely heard it, is I think that what you guys are doing now with ReachCast and having it be a community-driven thing is the most important and most critical thing for an esport to work. In terms of what I would like to see us do to make sure that it's well supported, I think the number one thing we need to do is give you guys an observer camera that doesn't suck ass.
Damn it, you stole my next question.
Holy shit, he destroyed your next question.
He's psychic.
Destroyed you.
Yeah. So like I esports and any kind of broadcast gaming, anything, any broadcast anything is all about the viewership experience. And if you guys don't have a tool that allows you to give a good viewership experience, you're never going to be able to make an entertaining broadcast. I've been astounded at how good you guys have been able to create a entertaining experience with how rudimentary and absolutely terrible the observer tools are in the game right now. So
just to jump in, you did say changes to the observer cam are extremely low priority right now, though, correct?
Well, all of this just goes back to our conversation we had earlier about prioritization.
Mm-hmm.
There's that observer camera stuff. The main chunk of that work, the thing that everybody wants to see is the ability for you to quickly jump into people's first person view, right?
Mm-hmm.
The ability to see maybe
night
a platoon list with
night
who's
vision,
with
infrared.
Yeah, be able to switch around, that kind of stuff. Be able to look and see.
I want static point cameras. I want enemy silhouettes in game.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
There's a huge amount of it, but almost all of it is UI. And again, UI is our most
your bottleneck. Yeah,
it's our most bottlenecked area.
Son of a bitch.
Who do we blame for that? Is that Muldoon's world? Is that who I blame?
No, we should get Muldoon doing some UI. Alex, you get to bust out your action script.
We'll raise some money. We'll try to get another UI guy.
When we'll get the ReachCat logo in game, and then we'll put all our money towards
T-Ray would off himself.
Getting observer camera improvements.
That would never happen. Probably hang himself. Not gonna happen.
But anyway, I don't think that it's not going to happen. It's something that we want to do. We want to continue to support, community esports events and do our own esports events. I mean, we're still working with MLG. We still have desires to show off PlanetSide 2 on kind of Server Smash was really cool. Being able to create more opportunities to show off that kind of level of PlanetSide 2 competition is something we really want to do. And it's completely holding us back right now that we don't have a better observer tool for it. So, that obviously bums me out. It's something that I wish that we had a better tool for. But if wishes were completed tasks.
If wishes were fishes, isn't that what it is?
Yeah. Honestly, observer tools are great, but there's a large portion of the population that has nothing to do with competitive play.
You're absolutely right, and I think that's bigger portion than anything else.
Yeah, and that's more important than the competitive play side. I mean, granted, yes, we're involved heavily with creating a show that's involved with competitive play, but we realize...
Did we make that? Some days I forget.
I think you did. I think it's the game itself, the population in the game is more involved with non-competitive play. So it's an understandable priority that they handle that first.
I think that's kind of a chicken and the egg thing too, though, right? Because more people in the community might be more engaged in competitive play if we could create a better competitive viewership experience. So I don't know. I'm a believer. I think that the first time I looked at PlanetSide and thought, holy shit, we should do more to try to make it work competitively, was back during the PlanetSide 1 anniversary, way before we even launched the game, when we gave everybody free access and people started streaming it. And it was just the coolest thing in the world to see people streaming organized operations. I think Noble was streaming a lot around then, streaming like some AT ops. And it was just really cool getting to hear the voice over IP and all that kind of stuff. And that's basically what you see right now with PlanetSide 2 streams. So you go watch a future crew player, and you get to kind of listen in on the voice over IP a little bit, listen in on their team speak, and watch them kick some ass. But you don't get to see the overall war experience, and that's really a shame. It's too bad, because the Twitch streaming, I think, could be a much more engaging part of the PlanetSide experience, where people actually are going to look at tips and look at, get hints from players that they really like. If we could do a better job of showing off how cool some of the things that players are doing are.
That segues.
Sorry, I keep just going on and on and on. What we've done before when we had at events, like when we do SOE Live, we actually have a combination of direct feed plus the observer cam, and then an actual producer who's going and switching between people's first-person views. And you watch one of those VODs, and it's actually really, really engaging the entire time you're watching it. But when you're just watching overhead almost the entire time with the observer cam, it's kind of it's easy for things to get lost.
Oh, I agree completely.
Yeah.
I was going to say, a perfect segue. You mentioned Twitch. Obviously, the biggest news that came out yesterday is the potential merger between YouTube and Twitch. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I use Twitch for a pretty substantial chunk of my current entertainment consumption. Certainly a lot more than I use YouTube nowadays. I don't know. I think it's good. Good for them. Good for John Carnage. I hope he buys a giant Maybach.
I think most people are worried that YouTube's just going to fuck it up. To be blunt.
I think they have a better infrastructure than Twitch does, though. So that if you can back in all of their streaming services on an infrastructure that's proven and true, that you would deal with a lot of the Twitch interruption and service that they have now.
Here's
quality.
Here's how I kind of think about it, just from a business point of view, is YouTube has much better technology, better engineers. No offense, Twitch engineers, you guys are very smart too, but they have an unlimited supply of engineers. They have an unlimited supply of resources for all intents and purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Things
Absolutely.
that Twitch is doing technically are not out of the reach of Google and YouTube. So the reason they bought them is because they wanted to buy the community and they wanted to buy the vibe. So I doubt that they'll fuck it up too much. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why they would want to go in and try to turn Twitch into YouTube when everybody using Twitch, instead of using YouTube, when all the stuff on Twitch was available on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
They spent that $1 billion on trying to get those people and trying to get whatever the secret sauce of what Twitch is doing. So I doubt that we'll see Twitch turning into YouTube anytime soon.
I figure if they're going to make a presentation to buy something for $1 billion, that they're going to try to take over its user base and try to mitigate them to one of their other services immediately. I mean, Twitch has its own follower base, and if they can use their infrastructure to enhance Twitch, which Twitch's infrastructure is what it is, but there's things they can do to better the Twitch infrastructure, and I think Google has the money to do it, so why not?
Right. And I think that's what we'll see. I think we'll see a lot more of Twitch becoming more solid instead of a lot of Twitch losing its identity.
Mm-hmm. At least that's what I hope. I hope they don't just Google Plus your mom across the board.
Everything's forced to use your real name.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I know a lot of people have been concerned about that. And I honestly, I'm concerned too, but there's pros and cons. So don't be a dick and just everything's going to go to hell. The world's ending. There's apocalypse tomorrow. There's good things to Google taking it over too. So take it easy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would make sense for them to spend $1 billion just to make the same mistakes that they already made on YouTube.
$1 billion is a lot of money. I don't know about the rest of you guys listening to the show, but that's not chump change for a company to buy anything. $1 billion. So
yeah. I think a lot of times people get lost in the numbers when they hear all this like tech startup stuff, especially because there's been a lot of crazy purchases lately of Uber is valued at $20 billion or whatever, and Beats got bought for whatever the national debt is. But a lot of times that kind of stuff is getting bought. It's not really getting purchased for that amount. It's getting valued at that amount because of a share that's getting bought.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So Uber was a good example. If somebody bought like a 5% stake in Uber, and they said, "Oh, well, based on this stake, it's valued at $20 billion." It's like, well, I mean, that's not exactly what that means.
Somebody overbought for a small amount of percentage, but
so Twitch for $1 billion is actually them saying, "Hey, here's $1 billion, Twitch. We want your stuff."
Yeah, exactly. I mean, full
buyout check being written and handed over right there.
Right.
Yeah, a full buyout percentage is entirely different than buying a percentage share. That's we're not going to get into market economy, but the let's go into Gerald's call.
I want to see a supply demand curve, Torkz.
I'm sorry, I can't provide it right now. Another presentation available. I apologize. Gerald's call.
Hello, this is Donald from Masterson. I have a question for the Higby. There was talk about nerfing the heavy assault shield. First of all, please don't do that because it would shit on my KD. Second, if that is still the plan, is that coming with the medic update or in a later patch? Lastly, fuck bitches, get money.
Okay.
Good old Donald.
Thank you, John. So, obviously priority number one, fuck bitches, get money. But the rest is still valid. So,
well, reading the update notes, it's not in the medic patch. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
It is not. It is not. That's another one. So the heavy assault shield is another one that basically got kind of lost in a prioritization morass. It still is on a task list, and I think it'll potentially be getting done for the next update because there wasn't a lot of work that was remaining on it. But yeah, we're still kind of digesting the changes that happened a few weeks ago with the last big balance update. I don't know. Do you guys feel like that heavy assault shield nerf is still something that we should go ahead with? I know that there was some mixed opinion about it when we were first talking about it.
I personally don't want it. I agree with John. It's going to fuck my KD.
I never play heavy assault, so for me, it's like, oh man, this seems like a good idea.
I like being able to use it as a Twitch response, but I feel that pre-popping it before getting into combat is just going to waste it. I don't know. It is an instant HP buff, like the chat room's saying. I get it, but I don't know. The shield kind of signifies the heavy class to me, in addition to the rocket launcher and the nice guns.
So the last iteration of what we were going to do with it, just so you guys all kind of know where our heads were at with it, was just making it re-equip your weapon. So basically, it would just play a reanim. You would do an animation where you can imagine like you slap your wrist and that activates the shield, and the shield activates instantaneously. But then you have to recenter your gun. So basically, you can't you can't ADS start shooting, activate the shield, and continue firing while activating the weapon.
I think it's pretty solid. I think that a lot of people don't take into account the other extra utility that you feel off of medics and other classes. I mean, you gotta take into account that the shield also gives you there's other disparaging facts that there's cons to using a heavy assault versus a medic or an engineer or any other light assault and other things. So
I like the chat room. Roy is saying don't do that. Rel's saying do that.
Well, I mean, one of the reasons that we kind of decided not to is because we want heavy assaults to be using LMGs. We didn't want to start suddenly seeing a whole bunch of heavy assaults just switching to SMG because they want to have the fastest equipping weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things that made it more complicated was rather than just re-equipping the weapon, we wanted to be able to put a time scaler on it so that we can even it out a little bit more between SMGs and LMGs, make it so LMGs don't take quite as long. Maybe if they don't get like the delay if they have a forward grip attached, things like that. So there was a little bit more complication that we wanted to, a little more functionality we wanted to be able to put into it to make it so that we didn't just see, I think it was Scourge was saying, oh, all I'm ever going to do is run around with the Iridani now. I'm just going to be an Iridani heavy assault, which is bullshit. Like that's what everybody says they're going to do until they're fighting at 40 meters and they miss their flare, but whatever.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So another part of Jonal's call made me think about because I've been reading through these medic patch notes, and I noticed that the shield thingy isn't in the medic notes.
Which shield thingy? The shield recharge?
Yeah.
So we pulled that from the patch notes. It's functionally it's in. We were working on some new effects for it because it basically wasn't readable when somebody was standing within the shield recharge area. So we're getting some new effects. I know that Joe was working on the effect that we wanted to do when I left earlier today. So right now we have basically a small client-side patch, and we can re-enable that thing. So it's not in the patch notes because we didn't know if we were going to be able to get it finished tonight before we left,
Gotcha.
or if it would get done sometime tomorrow. But that shield charger is still going to be in. We just want to make sure that it reads better.
I'm looking forward to using it. So
it's interesting. Did you try it at all on PTS? I don't know.
Let's be honest. I'm a very busy person. No, I mean, I did not get a chance to use it, and it's because I'm shithead. So
I messed with it a little bit on PTS, but I switched back to the nano regen thing really quick because I play very solo. So the shield thing is more like a team play tool.
Well, that's the thing. I play pretty tight knit with Black Arrows, and we think it's going to work very well in a lot of our cap point defenses.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's definitely what it's for. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. For me, I mean, the way I play is just like pure run and gun. So at least right now, I'm trying to go through my Auraxis marathon.
Yeah. Should we move on to good, bad OP, Mr. Torkz? Do we lose Torkz?
He's gone. He's gone.
Crap, he's the soundboard.
Well, it's just us now.
Oh no! Is it just you and me? Is Robo?
I'm here. I'm here. No.
Can you play the soundboard, Robo?
No, let's go ahead.
Let me drive over to you guys' house.
Are you too busy chatting in the chat room?
I am not too busy chatting in the chat room. We're good. So let's knock out the good, the bad, and the OP.
Did you fall asleep?
I did not.
I mean, are we boring you?
No, check the Skype.
I mean, we have Higby on the show tonight, right?
Check the Skype chat. Shit's sake. Check the Skype chat. I'll be right.
Yeah, it says R.I.P. Torkz. Torkz isn't real.
Oh.
Have another drink on me, soldier.
Okay, thank you kindly.
If you can look hard enough past all the death and all the sorrow, there are good things. You must remember that we will overcome the good, the bad, and the overpowered.
Okay. Good, the bad, and the OP.
All right, let's dive right in. First, my good this week is we got confirmation that the helmet that Bax created, the Firestorm helmet, will be in game shortly. I'm excited for that. It's not coming in this patch. I think it's next week is when we were told by
T-Ray probably got lazy and didn't approve it.
No, it's approved. It's you can preview it in game and everything. We're very excited. We're choosing
still T-Ray's fault.
We're choosing a camo to wear with it and everything. So yeah, we're really excited. My bad is that I tweeted T-Ray my 5K times yesterday, and he told me to shut the hell up and do a Spartan challenge. So apparently now I have to do a Spartan challenge.
T-Ray apparently likes to run through electrical shocking things.
Well, that's what I hear.
Like
you get electrocuted in this now?
So he likes to be shocked, basically. He likes battery powered things to shock him. That's what I'm getting out of this.
I work right next to the Reebok headquarters, and they have a whole bunch of the Spartan Challenge stuff set up there, so maybe I'll just run through it on my lunch break.
You basically need to get a spear, and you can get deformed and a shield, and you'll be good to go. You can run Spartan Challenge. Right?
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm going to look at the Spartan Challenge stuff.
It's pretty rough stuff, dude.
I've been looking at Tough Mudder.
Tough Mudder is a step down from Spartan.
All I know is you finish Tough Mudder and they give you a beer, and I'm down with that.
Fair enough.
And if you get a Tough Mudder tattoo, you get to do it free next year.
Just for the next year, not life? That's bullshit. That's how bullshit is that?
They give you a Tough Mudder tattoo right at the end. They've got tattoo people going, and bam, you get it tattooed. You get it free.
That's bullshit. If you have a tattoo, you get lifetime like free. That's retarded. If you have a Tough Mudder tattoo, that's full life.
Well, I'm not getting a Tough Mudder tattoo.
Okay, well I'm glad that your Sandy rules out. My good for the week is that I've been hanging up the rowing machine a lot in the last couple of weeks, and I've been it's good.
You working on your T-Ray pecs?
I am. I'm trying to work on my granite pecs, and I'm lifting after the rowing machine. I am not like T-Ray and Tom, where I lift like 4 or 5 days a week and do loads of never mind. So I'm hanging up the rowing machine. That's good. Whatever. My bad for the week is I'm still cleaning up cellulose all over my house from blowing up cellulose in my attic. And that's it. Robo, you're next.
Good. Hit BR99. Bad. Hit BR99. I'm such an amateur, man. All my outfit leader friends have had BR100 forever, and here I am chugging along at BR99.
Yeah.
Slacking, dude. You're slacking. I'm going to beat you.
I know. I play map side too much is my problem.
I was going to say, what do you have, a life?
Side, yeah.
I get killed more often from map side than, grenades, enemy LMGs. Just, here, let me open my map and look at stuff, and someone comes around the corner and pops me in the head. I'm just going to stay dead when I do map side.
Comic, actually, for like one of the planet side web comics would be a really good one of just like walking around an empty base, completely empty. Don't see anything at all. Nobody's there. Looking around, nothing. I wonder if there's any other fights going on. Open the map and then instantaneously dead.
Welcome to my life. Why is there a TR infiltrator 10 bases behind our lines when I open my map?
Yep. And it's like we might as well be playing a fucking animation when you open your map, right? Because it's like the split second you open it, ting 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 ting. Like what the fuck?
It's actually an animation question coming up. That'd be good. All right, Matt Higby is next.
Shit.
What's your good for the week, sir?
What's my good for the week?
Good for the week.
Prednisone.
Okay.
I got prednisone from my doctor.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that shit works. My carpal tunnel is great. I got that on, I think, Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason I was able to play for 2 hours straight on the server smash. And that is the reason that I am going to be able to, unless the power goes out in my house or my dog eats my internet router, I'm going to be able to get my TRV Auraxium tonight before the patch comes out.
Nice.
For this prednisone, in too much pain.
And if prednisone doesn't work, you move up to Oxycontin, and if Oxycontin doesn't work, you move up to meth, right?
Well, I did the reverse. Actually, I think I did the meth to Oxycontin to prednisone. So
you're coming
from order, yeah.
You're coming down. I see.
That's right.
Gotcha.
Now my arm works again, which is so my bad is like I'm really super exhausted because of coming down off the meth.
Yeah, the uppers to downers, the bad transition. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we pull that sound clip out for our Higby soundboard.
The white crosses to the downers. Good, not happening. All right, question segment. We have one more question segment. Then we have the mailbag. Robo, you have a couple more questions for Mr. Higby here before we knock it out?
Yeah, sure. Both regarding alerts. So for a while, the alert timer has been desynced with actual time or whatever the capture time is. And I think you might have mentioned this even earlier tonight. I just might have missed it. Is there a plan to address the alert timer running too quickly? Or is that just a network problem? We're losing a couple of seconds. What's going on with that?
I think what it actually is the process that timer's on is a different process than the one that maintains the base capture times. So that's something that we can fix. I'm sure that's pretty simple. I just had a meeting with one of our primary engineers on the team about making some pretty substantial changes to the way alerts work, having to do with some things that we're going to do for implementing the first phase of continent locking. So
that might be something that we can get done when we do that work too.
Awesome. Second question regarding alerts. Any ideas for? I know you guys keep releasing different alert types, and that's awesome. We're really excited to keep seeing those. They make stuff really fun for us. We'll send out a message on Twitter, on our website. Hey, alert just popped. Get in here, and we'll get 2 squads of people to log on. Just because we did that, it's really awesome for the game, for us anyway. I'd like to see that constantly, and not have everybody log off after the alert's done. But what can you do? But are there any plans for alerts where each empire's objective is different instead of the same? I guess I call them asymmetrical alerts. So instead of all 3 empires have to capture Esamir, maybe for one empire it's capture these bases and defend these bases, and then for the other empire it's sort of flip-flopped. Or I don't know, but basic idea, each objective for each empire is different.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically exactly what we were talking about in the meeting today. And I can go a little bit further and kind of explain to you what our plan is for the first implementation for continent locking and how alerts are going to fit into that.
Do it.
Alerts right now are a cool way for us to emphasize something that's going on in the world, but they could be a lot better. They should be a lot better. I think alerts, when they first came out, were something that people cared a lot about. It activated, and they would actually try really hard to go win the alert. But now they're kind of more like noise. And a big reason for that is because all it's doing is creating an objective that probably didn't exist before. Or maybe it did. Maybe there's really heavy fighting on Indar, and it says, hey, it's an Indar fight. And it's just continuing to maybe kind of reinforce and give a little bit of extra reward to the gameplay that people are already playing. What we really wanted to do with alerts is completely different. We didn't want alerts to just be reinforcing the current gameplay. That's just what they were, because that was the easiest initial implementation, and we haven't had a lot of time to go back and make them cooler yet. We want to do asymmetrical alerts, exactly as you mentioned. So the idea that if we're talking about something like a continent lock, as the TR are approaching 60% continent domination on Indar, it fires off an alert for VS and NC that says, defend Indar, get the TR under 50%. And for the TR, they get an alert that says, fucking give them the coup de grace, cut the head off, get it to 90%. Those, I think, will be a much cooler kind of alert, because they're going to be reinforcing the activities that players are already doing, rather than randomly telling them to stop the fight that they're at and go fight at a biolab because the siren just turned on, which sucks. No one likes that. So we want to create those as the new kind of standard alert that's based on real progression that players are driving on each one of the continents. And then what we want to create after that are new alert types that are a little bit more orthogonal to the main gameplay. Rather than just reinforcing the basic capture gameplay, it's having you do something completely different on a continent that is much more stable in terms of whether it's being captured or not. So when this continent, nobody has more than, 50% territory ownership on it, maybe we can spawn a rabbit alert on it and do the PlanetSide 1 rabbit ball style gameplay on there for a little while. And maybe that gets interrupted if the TR decide they're going to completely try to capture the continent, and then it turns into an adversarial alert. Or maybe there's a hybrid of the two that happen at the same time. I think there's a lot of cool possibilities there. And that's, I think, where we want to be taking alerts to in the long term.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Have you guys... the only way I can explain this is, on most continents, Esamir is the weird one, but on Amrish and Indar, there's a corner of the map for each empire. And this corner has my tech plant, my biolab, my amp station. And generally speaking, you want to keep all 3. I always thought it'd be cool if you had not an alert, but like a mission or like a default objective. If you're on a continent, take your 3 main facilities, and then everything else is gravy. And if you happen to take one of the other empire's really key facilities, you would get either a bonus or some special event would happen. But then I realized the problem with that is that's double jeopardy, because you're taking something they need and then you're getting rewarded for it. I don't know how that would work, but like a default, not alert, but like a default mission that should be the core of your gameplay whenever you log in, other than capture everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing that the mission system should be doing, right? Is the mission system in its default state should be prioritizing that kind of thing. And that should be just a heuristic that sits on top of it. That says, hey, if I have all 3 of my core buildings, core facilities on the current continent, then start pointing me at the next core facility I need to capture. Right now, we're only giving you the next lattice link. And something else that we're talking a lot about doing is we've seen tons of discussions about this, and we've talked a lot internally about the idea of changing lattice around so that we are doing things like connecting facilities, or maybe connecting battle areas or major focal points with the lattice, and then having other areas in between not be linked, or maybe not be mission objectives. Maybe your mission objective is to, you're at the stronghold and it tells you to capture Zervan, but it doesn't tell you to capture Zervan pump station and everything else in between. Those are things that we've discussed, at least, not we are absolutely doing this, but
it's going in next month,
idea
right?
where our heads are at with those kind of things.
All right.
Want to move on to the next question? You good, Robo?
I'm absolutely good. Thank you.
Did I skip some part of your question? I'm sorry.
No,
I end up going on this tangent, and then I forget even what I was saying.
No, that's good.
No, I think you answered everything.
Tangents. We love the
I
tangents.
think you answered everything, and you gave him even more than he asked for. So
yes,
yeah. We are.
All right.
Take it.
Like I said, we did have that meeting today, and we are laying the initial groundwork for doing continent locking and what type of things we want to do with continent locking.
Well, before you go on to your question, then we have a lot of questions that revolve around continent locking. Why don't you just tell us what the long-term goal for continent locking is going to be before we go on?
Well, with everything that we do, we constantly try to think about what can we release as a solid addition to the game that gives us the ability to expand greatly afterwards. Lots of people are really ticked off. Here's another fucking random tangent, but lots of people are really ticked off that we put implants into the game. And I've seen a lot of the complaints, which frankly I agree with in a lot of cases, of this isn't the most important thing that they could be working on right now. But what a lot of that fails to see is that the implant system is building a lot of different groundwork for us. We now have a loot system. We have the ability to drop items essentially on XP events that we didn't have before. We have the ability to, we have now a crafting backend essentially that we can turn into everything from creating guns with parts to, making different helmets out of components if we want to. We have a very simple and expandable crafting system. And we have the implant system, which gives us the customization that we've been wanting to have, and a lot of counters and things like that we've been wanting to have in the game since we first released a lot of things like EMPs and conks and stuff were never meant to be uncounterable. They were always designed to have a counter in the form of either an implant or a suit slot. And we decided to make those be implants a long time ago. And so they've kind of existed without a counter for a long time. So while something like the implant system might seem like kind of a non sequitur in terms of importance for making the game better or what players are asking for, the benefits that we get out of having all of those supporting systems in there are huge for us to be able to build off of for subsequent things. So continent locking, the initial implementation of continent locking is very likely to be what I had just talked about with the adversarial alerts. So you will get an alert that fires off as progress is being made towards capturing a continent. We'll be increasing the continental capture thresholds back up to not 100% like it was at launch. I think we changed it to something like 94%, which means that on Esamir, you'll have 2 territories unconquered. On Indar, you'll have 5 territories unconquered. So it's a little bit less than it was before in terms of everybody can just hang out on one hex and hold it down to keep the continent from getting captured. But you'll have the adversarial alerts that are firing off. And then at least initially, the way it's going to work is when you lock a continent, you're disabling spawning on that continent. Nobody can respawn on it. You'll get a better benefit than the benefit that we have right now. And essentially what you will have done as the conqueror of that continent is put yourself on the defensive on the other continents, because you can go and capture another continent now, or someone else can capture a continent. And when they do capture a continent, the lock on the last one that was locked becomes unlocked. So that's a continent locking system that works when we have 3 to 4 continents. which when we kind of started concepting this, we had the thought that we might be able to try to get it out before Hassan comes out, but it seems more likely that it'll launch at around the same time that Hassan comes out. And then as we get the battle islands getting finished, and as we get more continents that we can add, this system scales really, really well with n number of continents, and us being able to start creating discrete links between the continents and building out the continental lattice, which is where everybody wants to see it go to eventually. So at first we'll have the lightweight. We capture this continent and it provided a real tangible result to the gameplay on my server. Now this continent's no longer being fought over, and we've limited the players down to fighting on these other continents. And then we can build off of that as we have time. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Damn. All right.
Was that a good answer?
No, that's great. That's great. This leads
I think
to
it's just spawning even more questions in the chat room. That's all. But you're right. It was good info.
Oh, it's great info. It's up to you now, Mark. The bat. You're at bat. You're at bat.
Well, I got a question from Rel. So get ready.
All right.
Rel asks, where do you feel the game is lacking, and how much of that do you hope to remedy by the end of the year?
Where do I think the game is lacking?
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to sound pessimistic, but I swear it's not. But I don't think that there's any area that the game's not lacking. And that's only because I have a very unique view into conceptually things that we've talked about, areas where I know that we can make improvements. I have a very wide view of the game. And I play it a lot too. So yeah, I don't know that you would be able to find a single person, and this is crazy to say with all of the personalities that we have in our community. I don't think you would find a single person who could find more flaws with PlanetSide 2 than I could. So in terms of what is the game lacking,
argue that Scourge could find something wrong with anything any time of the day.
Nitpicking it and all that kind of stuff, you'd find a billion issues with it. But in terms of like actual core systemic problems, and this is the thing that I've been thinking nothing else but for close to 5 years now. When I first got put on this project, the number one thing I did was generate a list of things that are going to be a problem and things that we need to mitigate. So it's been in the forefront of my mind for quite a while. In terms of an actual answer for Rel's question, where do I feel like we're the most lacking right now? I think, and this is an answer that your audience is not going to like because this isn't an answer for that audience.
Remember, Rel's going to make a video about it tomorrow, whatever you say, so make it good.
Well, Rel, I think Rel is a chunk of the audience too. I think he has a broader view of what the PlanetSide 2 audience is than a lot of the hardcore PlanetSide 2 players do. But I would say that the number one thing that we have as a failing in the game right now is basic understanding and basic ability to get to and sustain a fun gameplay experience. It's hard for me to, like, as a brand new player dropping into PlanetSide 2, can you imagine, like, what would you want that person to do for their very first experience?
So I could parallel that comment to new player experience. Is that fair?
Kind of, but it's not purely new player experience because the consistency of gameplay affects everybody. It's about creating a more...
I'm just saying, because we bitched about new player experience for
sure.
a long, long time.
Well, so new player experience, the difference between the new player experience and the advanced player experience is the advanced players know what shit they need to do to find a good fight. And what I'm saying the flaw is that there shouldn't be that expertise required for you to be able to get into and have a great fight. Like that just shouldn't be the thing that is deciding whether or not you're having fun playing PlanetSide or not.
I think that's a good point. You think there's anything that's going to happen with the release of the PS4 version that's going to mitigate that problem?
I hope so. And again, I mean, like I said, we've been talking about these kind of issues a lot, and it always comes down to the bifurcation of the audience and what we do to make the game easier to understand and easier to get into for a player who's
like the word casual gets dropped a lot, but this isn't even necessarily casual players. It's just people who don't want an RTS. They want an FPS, you know? They might be a really hardcore player, but they don't necessarily want to have to understand all this depth to be able to get in and have a really kick-ass time. I think the console definitely solidifies that concern because the players on there tend to be more like that than they tend to be like the hardcore PlanetSide players that we have on the PC.
Yeah. I was kind of wondering, and this is totally for me. This is not for the show. The competitive / esports future for PlanetSide 2, do you feel like it more tailors itself to the console community than it does to the PC community for the future? I mean, I know that I get it that some of the other games have a larger console base than they do PC base. Do you think that PlanetSide 2 will do that as well? And do you feel like the competitive community would tailor itself more to that side?
Well, I think that there is, at least right now, in the current meta of esports, there's more excitement on console shooters than there are on PC shooters. And that's almost entirely
I would say it's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think CSGO is starting to make some inroads into that. I mean, CSGO right now has a higher number of concurrents playing every day on the PC only than Battlefield 4 has across all platforms. That's pretty impressive to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think a lot of that's going to really depend on how well we can execute on the console version, which is still kind of a huge, outstanding question mark. There's a lot of, again, going back to UI, there's a lot of really complex problems that we need to solve on the PS4 to make PlanetSide 2 be something that's even close to understandable on a console. And a lot of it is, taking some of the superfluous things that we have in the game right now, and figuring out how we can tone some of those things down, how we can make it easier for you to just jump in and have a really good time from the get-go without having to, spend weeks watching Rel's videos, or not weeks, but hours watching Rel's tutorial videos to figure out what the hell you're supposed to do.
I have to say Rel is one of my favorite YouTubers, simply for the fact that he's allowed for the entry of more people to this game than probably anyone else I know. So, hats off to Rel for everything he's done for the game. And
I watch Rel's videos to learn stuff.
I think he's generally just a good guy for the game, and I can't really argue with that. But not to suck his dick too much, but the
you can do that at SOE Live.
He's ripped, by the way.
Yeah, apparently that's what I was told. He breakdances up and down. He rolls. He's a stripper as well. That's what I was told. Get back to the console point with the hardware standardization of console. Do you think that plays more to the player base for PlanetSide 2? That you think that'll help the developers for the console side to upgrade or update the patches faster in a more stable way than it would be for PC?
I don't know about faster. The console has a whole set of different kinds of quality assurance regimens that you has to go through to get updates out to it. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. I'm hopeful.
I'm really interested.
Based on our numbers and based on what we're seeing with some of our other games, like we have DCUO, which is on PC, PS3, and PS4.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously a very console-centric game. I don't know if any of you guys have played DCUO, but it feels like a console game when you're playing it.
Yeah, I played a fair amount of it, and that's kind of...
Torkz and I played a lot of it, actually.
That's kind of why the question revolves around that. I toyed around with a couple of your guys' games, and your what was the term they used for it? Your barnyard of games, or your...
Barnyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Menagerie.
Yeah, menagerie of games. And DCUO is a great game. I'm just wondering how much of PS2 competitive future period is going to revolve around the console gaming community because of how much of a player base is there that's not around PC. And PC, granted, are quicker accepting new patches and just quicker accepting generally the path of new development. But console is more of almost an established player base in the United States right now in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering about that. That's one of the things I want to ask you about and see if you had any insight about what you thought about console gaming versus PC gaming in general for PlanetSide 2.
Well, like I said, I think if it goes the same like rough split as what we've seen with DCUO, our community would be larger on the console than it is on the PC. But I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if that's 100% true. Apparently, shooters are very popular on the console. People like that, so we won't be the first shooter on a console, I understand. So maybe there will be a good audience for it there. But it's hard to tell. To me, I said this already, but the key to esports is that it comes from the community. So if it makes sense on the console, then hopefully there will be a big audience for esports on the console. But I don't think that should be something where, you know, in our advertisement for the PS4 version or anything, we're saying, hey, come play the biggest esport on the console or anything like that. You know, I think that type of thing should always be driven by and coming from the community, not from us.
Fair enough. I've talked too much. Why don't you go ahead, Mark?
It's your question.
Are we going into Rail Fury? Okay. Well,
it's Flapjack's question. Where are you going?
Oh,
you remember you gotta ask it in Seinfeld voice.
Okay. So what's the deal with the shotguns?
What's the deal with the shotguns?
You read shotguns? It wrong, you jackass.
Fuck you. What's the deal with the shotguns?
Flapjack's real question is, what's the deal with all the shotgun buffs?
I mean,
I think Higby understands. Jesus Christ. Come on. Dude.
It's kind of funny to call what's going on right now shotgun buffs. I suppose that they are shotgun buffs. The changes that are happening to shotguns are more about equalizing damage across things like leg shots, body shots, head shots. I mean, it's not there should basically be no discernible difference between how shotguns feel before and after the very minor change that's happening with shotguns in this update, I guess is the point.
Good enough. Next question. Said.
And how about, in addition to that, we do not intend to be buffing shotguns with any of this stuff. It's purely just, managing numbers. Sometimes we change little tiny itty bitty things in numbers and people are like, this change isn't going to fix anything. Like, well, it was just an adjustment to a mathematical model. It wasn't even necessarily supposed to change anything.
By the way, guys, chat room and everybody else, these are questions that are sent to us. Jesus Christ, don't kill me. I'm a messenger. These are questions that we're given to ask. Relax.
These are questions from your fellow community members.
Kill them, not me. Just asking the question.
I'm tired of talking about shotguns too. So next is from Sed. Now, I want to put a caveat here. Sed asked 9 questions, and we don't have time for 9 questions. So I plucked one of your questions out, and I'm sorry if this isn't the best one that you wanted asked, but I thought it was good. So Sed says, I see that a lot of progress and headway is being made for the Forge Light engine, actual water tech, and weather in Hizzy. Are these still planned for PS2? And if so, do you have a ballpark time frame that you think they'd come? Even if you say 2 years or not within the next 6 months, I'd be satisfied. When I say Hizzy, I mean H1Z1, right?
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, we do want to take those things. So most of those, as he said, are just being implemented in Forge Light. They're being added to the base engine. So the real question is about whether or not they impact performance, to what degree they impact performance. H1Z1 is a very, very different game than ours. They're trying to have very, very different objectives. So it's not purely a matter of, hey, this works now, let's just put it in this other game too. Those things always end up having some sort of translation that needs to get done too. Mm-hmm. But like the rain, the weather stuff, we were talking the other day about how cool would it be, even if it's not a dynamic weather system, how cool would it be to just have some rain on Hassan when we release it? That would be pretty fucking sweet.
Oh, it'd be sweet ass. I mean, Indar have some sandstorms or something,
or snowstorm on Esamir. Snowstorm on Esamir.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, weather's one of those things where anytime anyone says what would be really cool to add to the game, it's naval combat and weather. Combat and weather.
Maybe I wouldn't get the fuck bombed out of me by liberals.
Hey, where the fuck is the air carrier? Where's the air carrier with all these crazy
where's
shit?
The Bastion?
Where's the Bastion? You fly over the top of these continents, you just bomb the shit out of everything. Where's that at?
I don't know.
The last I saw it was a piece of concept art.
It
got sent out.
Tell T-Ray he needs to move his ass and go in the UI and everything else and get his Bastion carrier in because he's the one sending it out.
Where are my oil rigs?
Yeah.
Oil rigs.
Tell T-Ray to stop sending crazy shit out that has like tons of stuff in it that will never be delivered. There's no way.
Story of the Bastion, because T-Ray wasn't the one who spoiled that. Smed said.
It was Smed, yeah.
What happened was, I don't even remember exactly how, but we were just talking about like some bullshit in an internal email list, and someone had said something like, "Why don't we just make a super carrier and do this thing?" and Trammell just replied back with a piece of concept art that we had from way back in the day. It was never intended, never even thought of as something we would add. It was a piece of concept art. He just replied back to it, and then Smed was like, "That's cool as shit. I'm putting it on Twitter." And we've been dealing with it ever since.
Oh no. Oh shit.
So that is to say, don't expect that fucking thing anytime soon.
Now I understand why the response has been the way it has. That's ridiculous. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, but I mean that kind of thing happens a lot, and you'll get the exact same thing out of me a bunch, where you're talking to me about something, and I just get excited about it because it's something that we've talked about or something we've spitballed around, and it's difficult to be as excited about what you're working on and be able to constantly caveat it with, well, I don't know if it's really going to happen. Don't get your hopes up,
No, I understand. I totally get where you guys are coming from. That's the funniest part. I just for a game that I play and I enjoy, it's funny to make that parallel between the two, and it's enjoyable. All right. So we have a couple last things. I don't even like this question, but that's fine. Is there going to be a hotkey for your basically your equipment charges for implants?
Oh, to toggle it on and off?
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay. Well, fuck that.
The thing with the energy system is that's another thing that we can expand and tie a lot of really cool stuff into. I don't think we've really scratched the surface of what we might be able to do using that energy system. We've already talked about doing some things with resources and potentially doing some merging between energy and resources, which would be primarily beneficial to people who don't want to manage their energy. So, yeah, again, super preliminary, but that system is more like a jumping off point right now than a end.
It's funny. I was talking to T-Ray about this when he came out to STL to talk to John and I about a bunch of other shit. But, there's got to be, for a free-to-play game, there's got to be money generation, right? There's got to be microtransactions to make something worthwhile.
Hopefully.
And, implants are exactly that. I put a lot of money into it. I know, Mark, you put a lot of money into it. Aside from your wife, you hid it from your wife, but you put a lot
I haven't spent a dime on
tell your wife you haven't spent a dime, but so you hit a lot of money. We've all spent a lot of money on this game because we believe in the game. And, microtransactions or implants are a way to do that. But at the same time, you have to manage the microtransactions in a way where people feel like they're being served in a correct way, right? So, what are your personal beliefs surrounding microtransactions and implants, and how they've been implemented and how they should be implemented in the future?
What are my personal beliefs on it?
Well, it's one of those things that's kind of I'm not asking for what you should put in the game or what will be put in the game, but what your personal beliefs around microtransactions should be, and what you think implants should serve as a purpose for in the game.
Well, I feel like we have honestly gone so far out of our way to not monetize the game in an exploitative way. And I know that this is going to either sound like lip service or seem like bullshit or whatever, but we really do. It's amazing that we've gotten VPs of marketing and our CFO and everybody else to actually start thinking about, is that going to be perceived as pay to win when they're talking about ideas to make money? That's been a big shift.
That's good, though. That's good, right? I mean, you're having people realize the effect it will have on the community, and it's a major change from most companies, right? Most companies are fuck the end user. I mean, go ahead. What you're saying?
It's very gratifying to me to know that we now have like some of these bean counters thinking about things like what is the player response going to be if we try to sell these type of items, and we really have. We've bent ourselves around backwards to try to make sure that we have a system that's fair, that doesn't allow some fucking rich asshole to come in, drop $1,000 and just kick the crap out of everybody who's been playing the game for a year. Most, and there's examples of this not being the case, but most successful free-to-play games in the world, they do that kind of stuff. They really do. And it's an easy path to make a lot of money. And we've avoided that. And it's been difficult for us to avoid that. But we've cut ourselves off of a lot of revenue because of that. And I think that even still, people are going to define pay to win on their own. It's going to be a personal distinction for them as to whether or not the game is pay to win or not. And I respect that completely. But I feel like we have done as fair of a job as you can expect a big, I mean, Sony's not a tiny, mom and pop shop. This is a big company with shareholders and large expectations for revenue. I think we've done a really, really good job of not pushing our microtransaction and business model as hard as we could. And I think implants are following in that pretty well. They are the only game system that we've put in the game so far that is pretty much a monetization system. It does add to the overall strategic depth, potentially, of the way that you do loadouts and things like that, which is great. And I think that the system that we ended up with adds a lot more to the game in terms of all those supporting systems than what we had as a proposal a lot earlier, although it took a hell of a lot of time to get it done. But in terms of microtransactions, I feel like we do as good a job as anybody of maintaining a fair competitive landscape despite selling things that affect gameplay. And my personal philosophy on that has always been that if it affects gameplay, it needs to come from it needs to be available in gameplay. And just at a broader sense, I think any competitive game, you don't want any one thing to be a straight up upgrade or a straight up trumping of another thing. So I think between having side grades and having those side grades be available through gameplay, we've done a pretty good job of making a fair microtransaction system overall.
Yeah. I think there's definitely worse pay-to-win systems than PS2. But
someone in chat just said, to be fair, Smed said $7 for a weapon was too much. I don't.
Is it?
Said that. That's not me.
Yeah. I guess I pay way too much for a lot of guns.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's who knows? That's what somebody said that.
God damn it, Smed, you jip me out of a lot of guns. Pissed. I should be paying less.
Yeah.
Oh, well, mailbag.
But you know what? The other thing.
It's a perfect morning.
Go ahead. What did you say?
Smash, take me under a giant bag of mail.
Bag of mail.
The other thing I was going to say is that we priced a lot of our stuff with the idea that we were going to have things like sales and we're going to have item of the day and all that kind of shit. So we didn't want necessarily for, we wanted to factor in those type of sales and the availability of those type of things for people who don't necessarily want to pay $7 for a gun. You know what I mean?
Most of the guns I bought, I paid less than $3 for them, but that's
same here. I buy them all on sale.
That's me, but. Maybe some of us are adults that have way too much patience, and I get it. Impulse buys are the way to go, but whatever. Nothing I'm going to say now is going to redeem me, so.
Well, that shit's all a mystery to me, man. Marketers and marketeering and all that stuff. Like, I don't know.
Without pandering
it's not my favorite topic.
Yeah,
this thing. I mean, I've paid $12 a month for PlanetSide 1 for like 6 years or whatever, and I'm paying all access now, And that's more than made up for all of the one station cache sales I've had access to, all the weapons I've bought, all the vehicle weapons I've bought, all the camos I've bought for one station cache each. Like, that's an incredible value.
You know,
for me, I love it. Like, I'm never going to probably unsubscribe unless I don't have the money for it. And I know a lot of people don't have the money for it, so I feel bad saying that. But like, the value's there.
You know, I did some math a while ago, and I did a parallel between my WoW subscription and how much my money I spent on Blizz versus how much I spent on PS2. And I spent 1.2% more on PS2 than I did on Blizz, but at the same time, I played PS2 longer than I played Blizz games, specifically WoW in this case. And you're talking about $14.99 and some whatever a month, and a lot of people don't take into account that the old subscription base versus the new pay to play base. You know, it's a lot of things in there that people don't really think about, but obviously shit. But the mailbag, let's go ahead and go.
Oh, it's a perfect morning. Great timing, the mailman's just coming.
Morning. Here's the mail. Big bag. See you later.
Must have been ready to get away. Very strange. What's the sticking sound? Going to take a look here in this bag of mail. Oh no!
Now you just open the ReachCast mailbag.
Hope Higby enjoyed that.
Of course, this whole show has just been a giant mailbag.
Basically, yes. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, Higby.
I've had a good time, man.
This has been a very unconventional sense of ReachCast, but you know what? We've enjoyed your company, so
I'm sorry to fuck the formula up, man.
So every now and then you got to do something different to keep it interesting, and this show has been one of the most interesting ones we've done. So,
well, I'll know if it was good or not if I get invited back.
The only way to cure cancer is to change, think out of the box. So,
right on,
Maddie.
Like Higby's dietary preferences, you got to spice things up sometimes.
That's right.
Yeah.
The only way to make this work is to get some ring sting. So, Natty IS320. There you go. Here's your call.
Hey, this is Natty IS320. I was calling to ask M. Higby what's going on with the medic update. That was supposed to come out today on Monday, I believe. And one other question, when are we going to see the new aircraft finally hit the playtest servers? Thanks for your time. You guys take it easy.
Update? Tomorrow. Right?
Oh.
I hope so.
Bam!
That should be tonight, 3 a.m.
Update notes are up, so.
Yep, that should be tonight, 3 a.m. Valkyrie? When's that going to be on?
It's a Nerf gun. This shit's getting real.
When's it going to be on public test? I would guess June, late June at the earliest. But, we're going to be... We're going to have one more update after this one, and then we're going to be on a hiatus for a little while as we're doing some stuff around E3 with the PS4. So you won't see a lot of updates between next week's and mid-June. So we'll see if it gets on test server before then. I'm not sure.
Okay. Last call. This is for my own personal enjoyment. Yeah. Tommy call.
Uncle Tom! Uncle Tom! I need you to come wipe me. Uncle Tom? Oh, hey, Reach Cat. I need Uncle Tom to wipe me. Oh. You mean I can use you to wipe my butt? Okay. Oh, thank you. Oh, wow, Reach Cat. Now you look just like your decal.
That wasn't a very good Reach Cat impression.
I don't quite know what to say to that, but
the chat room loves it.
Matt Higby, what do you think about the ReachCat decal?
I thought that was a really shitty ReachCat impression.
Okay.
To be honest, I've heard way better.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
The chat room knows it's Louis.
One day at SOB Live, we will have ReachCat stickers. So if you want a ReachCat sticker on your chest, you will show it to SOB Live. Otherwise, you will be you'll be disappointed. You'll be quiet. You'll be sad in game. Otherwise, so.
Is it a sticker I can like put on the back glass of my car?
Absolutely. I will. You know what? I'll be damned if I'm not going to talk to our printing guy and get a ReachCast sticker that can be put on
Get
your
some nice
your
vinyl
window.
ones. That
I will
don't
get. I
fade.
will get some nice ones. I will pay the money for it.
Yeah, we're working on it. Don't worry. All right, one last email, and then Higby has been nice enough to agree to slog
Christ,
through the
in two
crap of the
hours.
chat room and pick out some other questions. So this one's from Sunny, and it's Dear ReachCast. Voting for the Auraxis Literary Awards is now open until May 29th. We've received 43 new contributions to Planetside lore and backstory, and many of them are awesome reads. Prizes will be given out to the best story in each of 4 categories, NC, VS, TR, and Neutral. And the winning entries will also be featured on the official PS2 website. We need help from the PS2 community to read the entries and give them an honest rating based on style, content, and how well it fits into official lore. The voter who gives the most helpful reviews will also win a 2,000 station cash prize. If you could tell your listeners about this, then we would greatly appreciate it. The competition website, I will put those in the show notes. And finally, thanks again. Keep up the great work with the podcast. Sunny. So we've talked about the Auraxis Literary Awards before. So just doing our part to get that out there. And I'm going to paste the link into the chat room if anybody in the chat room is interested in it as well.
Yeah, by the way, we're giving out necklace decals to this as well. So if you want your faction necklace decal to this as well, we're going to be giving a number of those to the lore company.
What the hell is a faction necklace decal? You mean a dog tag?
Necklace decal. Dog tag, whatever.
Yes, a wearable necklace decal, everybody. I like that.
You know what I'm talking about, Mark?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Are we ready to open up chat room for a couple questions for you, Higby, or are you done?
Higby can pick them out. I don't...
Oh, you guys got to pick them out, man. I'm not looking at that.
Shit. Okay. All right.
All right, chat room. Now's your time. Let's go. Questions.
Questions.
Good questions, please.
There's 133 people in here. Come on. Somebody pick out a good question. You have literally 20 seconds for delay. And you're
dig deep, chat room. Dig deep.
I'm not asking Roy.
No, Roy's dead.
Oh, here we go. They're all typing out novels.
Yeah, they're friggin' too long. I'm not going to read that.
No.
I can't read fast enough.
I see something about base benefits. Changing the base benefits from WizNeo.
Question, have there been any plans for improved and meaningful base benefits?
That's been a big part of what we've been talking about as we've been discussing how we can potentially shift resources away from being the backbone of the strategic gameplay, which is a pretty terrible backbone, and move it more towards actually having meaningful, discrete base benefits. I think that seems like the most likely way that we can separate out resources and still maintain individual distinction to the bases. So that's my preferred solution. The real question is whether or not we can find good enough and interesting enough base benefits that we can actually execute against to be able to replace resources as sort of a what is the purpose of this base type thing. So there's a good question, or maybe a good community thread, is some ideas for viable base benefits that would need to be able to work either potentially in groups. So if you have 2 of these type of bases, you get a cumulative effect, or as a unique standalone. And I even like the idea of doing unique standalone effects that are continent specific. Like maybe ISA gives you something that's unique and it's only on ISA, or it's only on Esamir, versus other tech plants give you different types of benefits. So that would be a cool community question. If you guys want to spend some time ideating on that over the next couple of days, that'd be really cool for us.
I'll pick that one up for next week.
Yeah.
Cool. Next week's show is that. I'm going to ask this one.
No, you will not. Next one. You asked first one, asshole. Our PS4 server population is going to be the same as PC.
Right now, our plans for the server topography on the PS4 are identical to the PC.
Okay.
That means yes.
Boom.
All right, last one. Is it okay if I ask a final question here, Torkz?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to get one question. Fuck's sake. Okay, go.
Okay. Final question. Cert trees for outfits and whatnot. Will they be coming?
Yeah, that's another one that I really like. It's kind of a bummer having to just like talk about things that you really want to do instead of like be able to say, yeah, we're doing that and it's going to be out in 2 weeks. Outfit advancement and outfit customization is something that we've had on our list of things that we really want to do since way before launch. We always end up with questions like, what if you are a medic and your buddy is a tank driver and you love being in an outfit with him, but he wants all the tank driving perks and you want all the medic perks, and now you have to quit hanging out with your friends so you can go play in the medic outfit. That's kind of been one of our sticking points with being able to create a customization tree, unless it was really generic. And in the case that it's generic, it's bland and boring, and what's the point? But in general, the idea of outfits being able to customize and unlock specific attributes or specific abilities, even if they're unique ones that are first come, first serve or something like that, or not, has been something that we really have been wanting to do for a long time. Do we have any specific plans on when it's going to get done? Not really, unfortunately. So that's a bummer ending.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking from an outfit leader's perspective, all that stuff's really awesome, and we're really excited for it. Lots of other stuff we're more excited for that's already in the pipeline that you guys have already said you're doing. So outfit recruiting, probably the biggest one for any of us outfit leaders, and we're really psyched for that. And if that means we don't get the cert trees and stuff yet, we're fine with that. Like that's okay. We know you guys have a lot to do.
Yeah, and I mean that's why it's prioritized that way. Outfit recruitment is useful to everybody, and there's not a lot of outstanding questions about how it affects the game. It's just pretty much a benefit. We're excited about getting that in. The outfit base capture stuff, another thing. Like outfit base capture, we basically have ready to go. Your GOTR captures a base, and you actually see GOTR when you're mousing over that base, and a GOTR logo right next to the VS logo on the wall. That's something that is very close to being finished. We're just working on getting the outfit decals done, and then we want to release all those at all that functionality at the same time. But yeah, the customization piece, a lot of outstanding questions. Still something I'd like to do, but it's probably not something that I would expect to see until like 2015 or so at the earliest. It's not something that I think we're going to get any traction on this year.
I think that covers everything you want to. I know everybody in the chat room knows who you are, Matt, but if we have some listeners who don't know how to get in touch with you, how can they get you on Twitter, etc.? What contact info can somebody get their burning questions to you, which you may not even read?
Well, I would just love, first of all, if everybody could just please leave me alone. If everybody could just leave me the fuck alone, that'd be great.
Do you have somebody that you'd prefer that they bother in your stead?
No, man, you can get me on Twitter. I'm there all the time. You can follow us on, follow PlanetSide 2 on Facebook for updates, follow PlanetSide 2 on Twitter. If you're in game, I'm on there a lot. You can just add me. My name's Higby in game. We can send tells cross server, so say hi. If you are on Connery, just please let me do my thing. I'm trying to get some Auraxium, so don't try to fuck with me. By fuck with me, I mean like shoot with the Liberator or in front of me while I'm shooting somebody. Basically, just leave me alone. Just let me get my kills.
It's hilarious how many people don't know that you can send tells cross server. We get people like, "Hey, invite me to the squad. Hey, invite me to the outfit," and I type in the name, and it says "player not found." And I said, "What server are you on?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm on Connery." I'm like, "Well, funny story about that."
Yeah, I just remembered you can find me on the official forums too as Stu360.
I thought it was at xstew360. That's your Twitter handle, right?
But yeah, so we're always interested in hearing feedback. We always like hearing from players, good or bad. I actually get just as much amusement out of the mean tweets as I do out of the nice ones. So, yeah, hit us up.
I mean,
let us know.
We've always said it. You guys are probably one of the most open and welcoming of feedback, no matter what the form is, out of any game I have ever played in Torkz. I know you feel the same way. So, not to sound douchey, but thank you.
Yeah, basically, these guys have the thickest skin of any development community I've ever dealt with. Good job. You basically have an armadillo skin.
Cool. We like our game. We really do. This is the first game that I've worked on that I actually enjoy going home and playing, which is cool. You would be surprised at the percentage of game developers that actually get to really enjoy the thing that they work on. It's not a huge percentage.
I can imagine. Yeah.
So it's very gratifying, and it's, as much as I joke around about, people shitting on us on Twitter or whatever, we end up getting way more people saying thanks for the game. I end up getting way more tells from people who are just like, hey, thanks for making a cool game in game, than I get, bitching from random trolls or complaints from Scourge. I mean, complaints from Scourge are close, but I think that nice people saying nice things barely wins out.
I think Scourge is like the 65 percentile that takes what the trolls say and then purifies it into I hate you comment. It's good.
I like Scourge.
Thank you, Scourge, for purifying. It's good. You're basically...
All right. Let's not forget that we did also have Robo on the show this week. I'm sorry if you didn't get to say as much as you wanted to, Robo. But...
No, totally good. I'm just honored being on the episode with Higby. I'm totally happy with that.
If people listening don't know, Robo pretty much is the head and shoulders of Ghost of the Revolution. That best way to put it?
Yeah. Mostly the neck, really. Mostly the neck.
Mostly the neck.
The neck. Okay. So
and the beard.
So your lats are huge.
So he's not like the play calculator or anything. That's good.
Yeah. If people are looking to get in touch with you or Goater, how can they do that?
You can go to gotr.us. I think also goater.net redirects there now. You can follow us at GOTR Planetside on Twitter, or add me in game, Robo CPF1, ROBOCPF1, because some joker took Robo way back when the game started and doesn't play anymore.
If we had a name change token, you could probably get that.
Yeah. Funny how that works.
Okay.
All right, Torkz, you want to close this out?
I do. Thank God.
What do you mean, thank God? This was one of our best shows ever.
This was one of our best shows, but never mind.
Just because it's 1:18 in the morning for me.
It is ridiculous. Website, reachcastshow.com. Our email is at reachcastshow@gmail.com. You can call us at 415-787-3224. Twitch, twitch.tv/reachcast. Our show Twitter is at reachcastshow. You can reach me at Twitter at reachcastfuckyou.
And you can reach me at the Deringer, aka Stew360.
Okay. And Charles, what about you? Okay, you have nothing. How about you, Higby? What about your Twitter?
My Twitter at mhigby.
Okay.
Filled with very interesting information about horn honking.
Honking.
Got infographics on honks
and TKs.
That's right.
And being run over by vehicles.
Yep. I try to share as much worthless information as I can.
It's always good. People, the player base understands. Have a good week. Everybody have a good week. Take care. Take care of your people. Peace.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Thanks again for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. I got to go get my Auraxium.
That's right, Sergeant. You made the call. All right, soldiers. You've done a great job here today. Let's get our stuff and get the hell out of here.